right. Stream should be up and running now. I always like to give everybody, like 2 minutes or so to get a notification that the stream has went live here. So, as far as tonight, it's probably probably not going to be very long. Probably at least a damn hour. But we'll see what happens. Tonight will be an open panel night. If anybody is watching wants to click the link and come up here, have a discussion or debate about topic of your choice, the link is open in the chat. Just click that and come up here if you want to. If someone doesn't want to come up, you can always ask your question or comment in the live feed, and I will address it here on the live. So yeah, man, it's a lot of shit going on out here, man. Like I'll open up with talk about this one thing I seen. I was watching a video the other day, and the guy was talking about people have gambling addictions and whatnot, and he mentioned how people are now gambling. Just this year, right? This year they started to gamble and say, put a $50,000 bet, $70,000 bet that Christ might come back in the year 2026. So there's dudes out here, putting $50,000, $70,000 bets that Christ is going to come back in the year 2026. You know what I find funny though? Like, let's just hypothetically say, let's just, for random example, say Christ comes back at the end of the year, let's just say. So the guy might have got his prediction right and maybe doubled his money or whatever the bet was for. But the question is, well, wait a second though. But if Christ comes back, how the hell are you going to get your money? Doesn't that symbolize the fall of this world? And now Christ is going to have dominion over the nations, right? So how the hell is that going to profit you? Let's say you get the bet right, just for this hypothetical example. How's that going to benefit you exactly? Because Christ is coming to do away with this current governmental system, right? And this fake paper currency that you people call the U.S. dollar. You know what I'm saying? So, what are these knuckleheads that are betting, $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 dollars that Christ might come back this year? Shit, even if that happened, what the hell does that profit you guys exactly? Seriously, that's a fantastic question for somebody to ask these, knuckleheads out here that have all this money, to, place a bet on these dumb things. You know what I'm saying? Who the hell out here has the money to bet on this shit? You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. There's people out here that just waste money without any reason at all, man. It just really is. Really is just pathetic. Really is just pathetic out here. Like I seen, a couple of years back, there was a quote unquote a piece of art that was sold for $1 million, and all the guy did was tape a damn banana to a white wall, right? He put a piece of duct tape on the banana and just placed it on the wall. And the art, or quote unquote art, sold for $1 million at auction. It's what the hell? There's knuckleheads out here that have this cash to burn, and they're spending on such stupid shit. What the hell? And whoever bought this dumb shit, gonna take that back to their home or office or whatever, and just post it on the wall. It's okay, so you really just wasted $1 million on this quote unquote art project that took this guy what? Under $5 to create, under 20 minutes to put together. Oh, but it's a piece of art. I mean, come on, this is getting just dumb out here, man. It's getting just really, dumb how stupid this is. It's like everywhere you look, there's people out here, they're just, careless and, wasteful with the way they spend their money. It really is just sad and pathetic. Like, let me give you a little story. A couple of months back, maybe like 3 months ago, I walked into a Family Dollar, right, or Dollar General, and I know the guy that works there. Right, dude looks like a damn leprechaun or something, right? Small Irish dude, and the dude in front of me in line that was talking with the Irish guy. He was like, "Oh, yeah, man, I have a, bad, gambling addiction, I'm out here spending, you know, like, $100 per day on gambling, right, on, either whether it be, the phone apps that you can gamble on or lottery scratch tickets." The guy's like, "Oh, yeah, man, it's real bad. I'm like, 30,000 plus dollars, down the tube, due to my addiction spending $100 a day on gambling." I think to myself, I was like, what the hell? It's like, I don't know how people let these addictions get, so out of hand, man. And don't get me wrong, I get how gambling, like lottery tickets, for example, can be a fun, addicting thing. I mean, over the course of the years, I'd say I probably spent at least $1,000 on lottery tickets here and there. But, I'm talking like, over the course of like, what, 5, 6 years? You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit over there. Over the course of time, it adds up. And I've hit a decent on them before. I won like the biggest I've won on a ticket. I like those Loteria tickets. If you ever seen those, it's like basically like a bingo game, right? You gotta like match up the calling cards with the board, and gather either in a diagonal or straight across, and you win a prize for it, right? So a couple of years ago, I got a $3 ticket and I won like the second top prize, which was $500 from it. I was like, oh shit, $500 from a $3 ticket. That's pretty damn good right there. But, that's like, you know, something that's not going to happen very often. It's not going to happen very often that you hit a decent prize on these tickets out here. You got people out there like the guy I mentioned at the Family Dollar that's spending $100 a day, trying to make it big. It's like, buddy, it ain't gonna happen, man. Like, hey, look, if you have an addiction that bad, well, maybe what you could do, right? Of course, you can't really stop a addiction in like 2 days, of course. But what you should do, what would be smart, would be to start limiting the amount that you're using. Like, say, for instance, why don't you cut down from, instead of 100, cut down to 50, and then perhaps you could drop down to 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe if you can't cut out your gambling altogether, maybe you can just decrease the amount of money that you're spending on it daily, right? Like, instead of spending $100, why don't you just spend $20, right? Buy a couple of them cheaper tickets, right? So therefore, you still get to do your daily gambling, right? If your addiction's so bad you can't stop at all, well, just drop down from 100 down to 50, and if you're able to, go down to 20. Now, of course, the ideal thing would be to be able to control yourself to not have to spend money like that every day. But I get it. Some people have lifelong addictions that they're just, that they can't shake, right? Can't get rid of. It's like, okay, well, you know, you should start diminishing the amount that you're using. Like, I'll give an example, right? I know people who are smoking like literally a damn, 10-pack carton of cigarettes in a week. I kid you not. I know somebody who, well, they're not alive anymore. They died of old age, but they, they would smoke like literally a 10 carton pack of cigarettes every single week. Right, that shit was like what, $150, $140 for that. It's like, damn, it's like you're going through all that in a week. You know, Now, of course, from the scriptural perspective, we teach that smoking is a sin, right? It's a sin to smoke cigarettes. We're not supposed to be doing that. But again, I understand how some people might have an addiction. They've been doing it for 20, 30 years. It's not like they can just change it overnight. Maybe they want to get better, right? Maybe they're trying to seek help to get better, but it can't be overnight. It's like, okay, that's understandable. Well, how about instead of smoking, 10 packs a week, why don't you try to drop down to 2? Now, again, ideally, of course, for most people who might not have a severe addiction to it, if they hear us say that it's a sin, we're not supposed to be vaping, not supposed to be smoking, we're supposed to stop that instantly. But it's understandable how some people might have a lifelong addiction where it might not be as easy. So for people like that, we'll say, okay, well, if you can't stop immediately, why don't you at least slow down on the amount that you're consuming, right? Instead of going through 10 packs a week, why don't you try to drop down to 3 packs, then 2 packs, then perhaps 1 pack? And again, of course, ideally, you should want to cut all of that out of your life if you're looking to live in line with the scriptures. But you have to understand that there are people out there who have lifelong addictions where it's not easy as just changing their life around, on a Wednesday night, right? Like, not everybody can just do that. That's been, living a certain way for, a decade or two. Eric Vaughn, how are you doing, my friend? Welcome, Eric. But yeah, man, it's yeah, there's a lot going on out here. That's all I can say. A lot of stuff going on. Should at this point, it's like a damn understatement, man. Here, there's just more nonsense, around every damn corner at this point, man. It's just more nonsense every damn corner you look. But shit, I'll give you an example. Like, I went to Walmart. Somebody explained to me how they have like 10 self checkout lines at the store, but they only have 3 of them open. It's like, what the hell? I mean, you guys see, it's busy on the damn Friday night. And there's like probably what, 400 people in this entire Walmart. You see the lines are, starting to, go back to the middle aisles. It's like, so why are you guys not going to open up a few more lanes? Like, what the hell is the point of having like 10 checkout lanes at the store if y'all are going to have only, 3 or 4 lanes open at a time? You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes if you go later at night, because Walmart now, they close at like 11 p.m., which they used to be open 24/7. But then in 2020, they decided to close at 11, right? That's their policy now. Um, but what I was going to say is, if you go to Walmart at like, say, 8 or 9 p.m., you'll notice in a lot of these stores, in the big self checkout lanes they have, like usually at like the 2 ends, they're usually closed down at 8 or 9. It's like, what the hell? Why are you guys closing it down this damn early? Y'all are still open another 2 or 3 hours. So why the hell are y'all closing down like the you know 8 lane self checkout section on both ends? What are you guys doing? So, like, somebody rationally make sense of that for me. And then second of all, in some of these Walmarts now, depending on, what place you're at, some of them are not even giving bags for your groceries anymore. So hold up a second. So I have to check out my own groceries, and then you're not even going to give me a damn bag? And then they have the nerve to have, some jackass, standing up there by the metal detectors, right? The damn scanners, to look over everybody's cart right, and to read your receipt, before you walk out the door. It's like, okay, well, maybe you'd solve the problem of not having to worry about everybody stealing, right? Maybe they threw an extra item in the cart because there's no bag, so how could we tell? Say, okay, well, maybe a solution to fix that problem would be to bring back plastic bags. And shit, if y'all are so convinced about saving the environment, right? They're trying to be, what is it, eco-clean, eco-friendly or something like that, right? All worried about the sea turtles, right? Worried about the environment. It's like, okay, well, if y'all are so concerned about the environment, like, why don't y'all give your shoppers a couple paper bags at least, right? Like if you don't want to give us plastic bags to try to help the environment, well, why the hell can't you give us a couple of them paper bags, right? Those usable throwaway paper bags. Like even if they wanted to make it where, okay, well, in order to get a bag, you have to buy at least five items. It's like, okay, well, still, you should have the decency to give us a bag if we buy 5 or 10 items. You know what I'm saying? Like this is getting dumb. This is getting stupid. Let me see what's going on. It's a lot of places used to stay open late at night. We live in a messed up economy, so quality will go down. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and really since 2020, which I gotta watch the wording that I use, of course. You can read between the lines. Really, that's when a lot of these businesses started to, change up, their open hours. Like Walmart's one of the greatest example because they used to be open, 24/7. But then after that, they decided to, just stay open till 11. Some people find it more practical, but I was one of those people that will go to Walmart at like, 3 or 4 in the morning at times. Way less people, you can just get in, get out, get what you need, get out of the store without much of a problem at all. And, now you can't do that anymore. Shit, now your only damn option is these stupid ass, gas stations around here that are open like 24/7. Shit, you go into one of these damn gas stations, I'll give you an example. Like I went in and I looked at the Monster drinks, right? The Monster energy drinks. And someone tell me how they're trying to do a little special, right? Quote unquote special right now, where if you buy 2 of them, you'll get one free. Now, just by saying that, that might sound like a good deal, but here's the catch though. Each of them, remember, you have to buy 2 in order to get one for free. So each of them is like 380, 380 or 390, basically about $4 for each of them. So if you do the math on that, you buy 2 of them, roughly $8, and then you get the other one free. It's like, okay, but what about like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, where you could get 2 of them for $5? Right? That was the deal then, right? You get 2 for $5. Now they're trying to make it look like a deal. Well, if you buy 2 for $8, now we'll give you an extra one for free. It's like, okay, but I'm not really getting the other one for free because I'm paying you, damn near $4 each for the 2 other ones. So I'm not really getting the third one free. Y'all are just, using a clever marketing, to scam the gullible and ignorant sheep. They won't know any better, just want to come in, might see a new flavor they want to try and see, oh, buy 2, get one free. Oh, that's a good deal. Get to the counter and it's like $8 damn dollars. It's like, what the hell? $8 damn dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. And don't even get me started on the fact, as somebody who had to work for the minimum wage, which was $8 an hour, you're telling me that I got to bust my balls for 8 hours, and that's only enough, or excuse me, for $8 an hour, right? Which typically the work day is like what, 8 hours, 7, 8 hours. So technically I am, right? But anyway, um, I gotta work and do all that to get $8 an hour, which is only enough to not even get me a foot-long sandwich at Subway, and barely enough to get me two Monster Energy drinks. I mean, somebody make sense of that, because that's not really making a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not at all making sense. You know, it's so dumb out here, the price of all this shit out here. You know what I'm saying? So let's recap, right? Let's recap something, right, from like the last live stream, right? So here it is. You know, we're living in a depression, right? You know, this price of everything is skyrocketing. You know, there's a war in Europe that's been going on for 4+ years now, going on just past 4 years the other day, with no end in sight over there. If anything, the conflict is expanding, right? Not ending. It's expanding. You know, you have the Chinese army. Every other day, they're circling the island of Taiwan, you know, trying to plan out a strategic strike. You got the MOTB could literally happen like any day now, right? It can happen any day that can happen. You know, there's so much shit going on right now, and knuckleheads want to sit there and try to debate you about, well, was Adolf actually, you know, a good guy? You know, I think the media might be lying to us about him. Well, you know, he's actually a good guy. You know, there's nothing weird going on with him. He's just being misrepresented. It's like, you know, like, I just don't get it. Like, how is it with all this, you know, dumb shit going on in the world today, all these problems, you know, all this shit going on today, and guys want to sit there and try to debate you about, oh, well, you know, Adolf and the Germans were actually, you know, kind of like the good guys. Like, bro, what are you talking about, man? You know, you need to get your head out of the gutter, my friend. Like, seriously, you know, I wouldn't, if you were to tell me like 10 years ago that, you know, in the next decade, I'd be sitting here on YouTube in the year 2026 and trying to explain to people, you know, you can't claim you believe in Christ and believe in Adolf as well as like some type of like great respectable guy. Like seriously, if you were to tell me this like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, you know, that I'd call you a dumbass to say something like that. And lo and behold, here we are, right? Here we are. You know what I'm saying? Shit, you know what I find funny? Like, there's a video clip I have. I don't know if I can pull it up here. But there's a video clip, an old clip I had from like 3 years ago when Perry Green joined my live stream. And, you know, a couple other dudes were there as well, and we were all talking. And Perry's like, hey, look, you know, everything is, you know, all clean. Everything is, you know, all amazing for me as long as I believe in, you know, sweet Jesus, right? Just, you know, sweet Jesus. Everything is all, you know, peaches and cream. And then he's like, well, yeah, you know, you can eat people. But like literally, I'm gonna show you the video clip. Let me grab it real quick. All right, I found the clip. I'm gonna play it here, and y'all can let me know if you can hear it smoothly. I'm playing from another device, so do excuse if it's a little grainy, but I'll try to play it the best I can. Doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what sexual orientation you are, doesn't matter if you smoke or if you drink or if you jerk off or you watch porn or you're in porn or you're a fucking hooker or you're a drug addict or you're a fucking shit parent or you're this or you're that. None of that shit matters. He died for everybody. He took away the sin of the world. And unless you accept that and accept that he made you perfect and put his word first, you're done. You're done. Except you repent, you shall all likewise perish. And it just is what it is.
It just is what it is. It just is what it is. Everybody that sins is of the devil. Jesus died to make you perfect. Either find that or you're fucked.
Most of these verses you said that you're not under the law are from Paul, not from Christ.
Jesus said all things are clean for me.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're clean for you, so can you eat human flesh?
Yes.
You can eat. You can eat.
Jesus said all things are clean for me.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're clean for you, so can you eat human flesh?
Yes.
You can eat. You can.
I could, yeah. If I grab a steak knife and cook it and cut it and put it in my mouth, I can eat it.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're clean for you, so can you eat human flesh?
Yes.
You can eat. You can.
I could, yeah. If I grab a steak knife and cook it and cut it and put it in my mouth, I can eat it.
Yo, you all hear that? And by the way, in case the clip was a little grainy, Perry said, I'll explain what the clip is. Perry said, all meat's clean, I can eat anything, so I was going to throw him a spiritual uppercut. And I asked him, okay, so can you eat people then? Because all foods are like magically clean for you. And he's like, oh, yeah, if I was to cut it, cook it up, and I could eat it, yeah. I could eat it. It's like, wow. This dude, which, by the way, Jay, for whatever dumb reason, defends this this knucklehead and numbskull. And nutcase, as I was going to say. He sits there and believes what this dummy says. It's like, what the hell, man? Like, how can you defend somebody like that? Literally sitting there telling you, hey, look, all meat is just clean, right? All Jesus made everything clean. Even people. Oh, yeah. If you kill someone, eat them, cook them up, well, you can do that. It's like, what? Well, what type of knucklehead says such stupid shit like that? But first of all, Christ didn't make all foods clean. That is a straight lie right there. You know what I'm saying? That is a complete lie to say something like that. Christ didn't make all foods clean. I mean, it says Isaiah 66, verse 15 to 17. It says that when Christ comes back, those that be found eating the swine and the mouse are going to be consumed together. Right? They're going to perish. That's an example of people eating unclean meats. So I just don't get it how people can sit there and try to defend Peregrine as like some type of noble, respectable character. But meanwhile, the knucklehead will sit there and say, oh, doesn't matter how you live, Jesus made you perfect. Nothing you do is sin as long as you don't believe it's sin. And oh, yeah, you can eat anything, man. Or you can eat anything. It's just totally ridiculous, and like you'd think people would be smarter than this to follow such, complete numbskulls like this. You know what I'm saying? But like seriously, like, you'd think people would have a little bit more sense to them. It's just absolutely dumb. Let me see. Right, that's true. That's true. Right. Right. So, any way that you look at that, he's responsible, not talking about Perry here, going back to Adolf. He's responsible for the death of millions of people, whatever way you want to look at it. Okay? So, to sit there and to defend a dictator like that and claim that you represent Christ, like, I'm sorry, but, you're saying a lie. Like, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. It's like, seriously, some of these guys are like a bunch of preschoolers on here, man. You got to go back to basics with them. It's like, the Bible says that God tells us what we can't steal. And these guys want to try to argue and debate you on that. Oh, well, it's only talking about for those who believe they're under the law. If you don't believe you're under the law, well, it's okay to steal from your neighbor as long as you believe in Jesus. or about the unclean foods, right? The God gave an entire chapter of the Bible dedicated towards telling us what animals we can and cannot eat, right? Leviticus 11. But everyone wants to say, oh, well, that was just for like, a period of time. Well, that don't reflect, today's world. Well, hold up a second. Well, the Bible says that God doesn't change. What is that? Malachi 3:6. It says, I, the Lord, change not, therefore your sons of Jacob are not consumed. And even Christ, right? Even Christ doesn't change. If you read, Hebrews, I want to say 13 and verse 8, it says Christ was the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let me say it again. It says Hebrews 13:8. It says Christ was the same yesterday, today, and forever. So God, nor does his son change. That's what the Bible says. So by you sitting there and saying that there was like a change in God's moral standards and laws and guidelines, you're saying a lie. Right? You're saying a lie. Right? God's moral standards are the same to all generations. Right? People living in all centuries of time. They don't just magically morph and change like in the 5th century or the 8th century or in 70 AD. Oh. They don't change at any of these times. Right? God's moral standards and values are the same today as they were, 4,000 years ago. And this is just a fact. Anybody that wants to argue that, you're just arguing against the scriptures. That's just all you're doing. And if somebody wants to do that, then, they're welcome to do that. But, you're not saying something true. You're not teaching a truth. You're teaching a lie is what you're doing. And, if somebody feels happy to teach them believe a lie, then, let them go believe and teach a lie. I mean, shit, it don't affect me. It doesn't stop what I'm doing over here. If someone wants to be dumb and go believe and teach a lie. Like, hey, if Perry wants to sit there and teach people, well, just believe and, stay forever. Right? Don't matter. Nothing matters as long as you believe. And look, if he wants to believe that, let him believe it. If people are dumb enough to believe such stupid shit, then let them be dumb and believe it. But I'm going to sit there and criticize and expose such lies as being falsehoods, as any, real man of God or speaker of truth would do. Like, say, for instance, if we see somebody make a dumb statement and say that God loves everybody, well, we'll go to book, chapter, verse, and prove you wrong. Well, God never said that he loves everybody. Well, where the hell's that at? Where the hell does God say that he loves every single person on earth? That's not in the Bible. That's a convenient lie. That's not true. I'll show you another lie. The churches down the road from me are flying a pride flag outside of their church. It's like, wait a second. How can you guys sit there and claim you represent Christ and the God of the Bible, but yet you're flying a rainbow flag outside of your church? Right? Oh, we're open for all, right? We're open to all, trans people, rainbows of all sorts, we're open to all. It's like, where's that at in the Word of God? As far as I know, the Word of God says in Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13, that that's a sin unto death. That's what the Word of God says, and that's in Romans, the 1st chapter as well. It talks about, man with man, woman with woman, being unnatural and against nature. So what are you guys doing? Sitting here claiming that you represent God and Christ, but you're flying an evil and wicked flag outside of your church? I mean, you guys are a damn joke. But you know what the most hypocritical and remarkable twist to all of this? Somehow they would think, like, if I was to go there, like, say if I meet one of their members outside, like he's happens to be walking to his car, and then I go up to him and ask him, hey man, what are you guys, what's this flag up here on your church? Like, well, what does that mean? Can you explain to me what's going on? Knucklehead will be like, oh, Jesus is for all in all, if they want to live that lifestyle, hey, they're not hurting me, let them do what they want. Oh, this is America, they can live that way if they want. It's like, you know, you do realize that the Bible that you hold in your hands condemns this lifestyle in action. So how are you going to sit there and defend something that your religious text deliberately says is wicked and abominable, a abomination? Excuse me. How can you sit there and do that? That's what you call a hypocrite. But you know, as I was going to say, the remarkable twist is if I was to start asking him these questions or pointing out these verses, they'll be like, "Well, you're the hateful one, right? You're just being hateful. You're just being rude." Like, how the hell am I being rude or hateful just by pointing out what the Word of God says that you're supposed to be endorsing and teaching at this Christian church? Like, how the hell am I the hateful one just to point out what God and Christ stand upon? Like, how the hell does that make any damn sense? Can somebody explain that to me? Totally ridiculous. Yo, Judah, you up here? We'll give him a moment. I added you to the stream, Judah, but you are on mute. You have to unmute yourself. But anyway, going back to what I was saying. Oh, there you are. Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, what's up? How's it going?
It's going good.
All right, cool. What's on your mind, my friend?
Oh, yeah, but like a lot of lot of shit, the quality of shit had went down. Like I was saying in the chat, like I could just remember like the 2014 nostalgia, 2015 nostalgia. Now 2014 and 2015 were like the best years of my childhood. Not gonna lie, a little bit of 2017 and 18, but it was really 2015 and 14. But like I could remember, Walmart used to stay open until like 3 a.m., 2 a.m., like 24 hours.
Right.
It was cheaper to eat out. The quality of video games are good. Things were cheaper. Movies were better. People seem to be more hyped about everything. Now, like society's dead. Like the people, the people are not lively like they used to. They're like zombified.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
you,
man. But
man.
I
You
can
know,
remember like we used to be excited for new video games being released. We like used to stand outside of a GameStop. Uh, yeah, man. You know, yeah, like things were better back then. You know, now quality of stuff had just went down over the years. I think that plays to the Bible verse where it says, "The daughters of music should be bought low." So that's like saying Babylon's entertainment should be bought low, like the quality of stuff. Yeah, things
right.
is
I
not the
get
same
what
no
you're
more.
saying. Right. Yeah, man, you know, the quality of everything, everyday life, just everything in general, you know, is just on a downward spiral, you know, and it's very obvious to see even these, you know, knucklehead novices out here in the world, right? Even these brainwashed sheep are starting to wake up and realize, well, yeah, you know, well, why is the price of everything going up? Like, you know, Trump promised, quote unquote, promised that the prices were all going to go down when he get in office, and here it is. Everything, if anything at all, it increased in price since he got into office. And everybody's
Right.
realizing now that they got sold a lie. You know, people are starting to see it, but unfortunately, it's not enough yet.
Yeah, man. You know, but people will still say Trump is making America great again. Oh, Trump, Trump, Trump.
Yeah,
Democrats,
yeah,
Democrats, Democrats.
like
Like
that
they're both
knucklehead.
rich people.
Like that knucklehead Jill in the comments. Oh, you know, well, Trump's like a savior. Oh, you know, how dare you talk about Trump? I'll throw the mic back to you.
Right.
But yeah, man, you know, it's ridiculous the way that things are and the way things are going today. It's so dumb.
Right.
Especially with Jay on here, man. Again, I've known him for like back since like 2019, right? So it's really strange that the thing that's like tripping him out today is like, oh, well, Adolf, and by the way, we should watch the wording we use on here so the video don't get flagged. Just note that. But Adolf, oh, it's like some type of great, respectable guy. It's like, it's ridiculous. Like, out of everything out there that would trip this guy up, I just have a hard time understanding how that magically somehow is the thing that's making this guy like bug out for some reason. It really is just strange after knowing this guy for like 7 years, man.
Well, he believes that the Germans are Israelites because well, first of all, he believes that the Israel that the some about the Aryans came from Mount Ararat, which that's where Noah's boat landed. So basically the seed of the basically basically the seed of Noah's Aryans. So the Aryans had went into Europe and populated Europe. So therefore Europeans are Aryans. So now the Jayish people, or small hatters, I don't want to get your channel flagged, but those type of people are not Edomites. They're actually, well, yeah, those are Edomites, but white people are not Edomites, but those are real Edomites, small hatters. So the small hatters wants the Aryan bloodline destroyed. So therefore, the Aryans, which are the Europeans, the Aryans, which are he believes the Native Americans are Aryans because the swastika fair use was found in Native American heritage. So any form, all the Aryan bloodlines are going to be targeted, including some people in Japan, since Japan has the swastika. So the Bible figures the Aryans. That's what he believes. So then he'll say the Germans are Israelites because the Germans were after the Germans lost the war, the Jayish people had moved into Germany. Now this is true. Some of the Germans were I don't want to get the channel flag, but by being too descriptive, but some of the Germans were killed. Some of them were killed, raped, just pillaged, basically, right after World War II.
All right, well,
Right after World War II, after the Germans.
Real quick, but Judah, let me stop you there real quick. And by the way, I did invite him to stop by when he's able to. If he can't make tonight, that's okay. But I'll let him explain how he views. But even with all that you're saying there about it, right? Like, let's just for argument's sake assume, okay, well, let's just say they were Israelites. Okay, but how does that negate the fact that because of this man's actions and his what's the word I'm looking for? His rule, his demand led to the death of millions and millions and millions of people. So like I don't get how he can negate that fact. Right? Like even
Here's a fact though.
Go ahead.
Here's a fact though. Now I actually believe Adolf had a good well, I actually believe Adolf Hitler was Adolf was evil.
Hey Judah, real quick. Quick, I want to remind you, you keep saying a lot of flag words on here. I don't want my video to be flagged. So I need you to watch what you say on here. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to, but the mustache, well, it's okay if I say the mustache man.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I actually believe the mustache man is evil, but there's far more people that was more evil than the mustache man are just as evil. Now the reason why the good intentions that Hitler had was draining the swamp in Germany.
You did it again.
Now this
real quick, hey Judah, just real quick. You said you believe there were many more evil people than Adolf. Would you give me like two people that you'd say from history that you'd say were more
just as evil and more evil? Joseph Stalin, because if you he made a law where, okay, if anybody walk in my office, you're going to get shot and killed. So anyway, he tested that law.
How many people would walk in his office? Maybe 20 over the course of a couple of years.
Yeah, just one guy. He had shot in his office. But this is an example of what he did though. So anyway, Joseph Stalin, he also caused the red famine. Well, Joseph Stalin and the Bolsheviks had caused the red famine in Russia too. That killed a lot of Ukrainians. Millions of people in Germany caused by the red famine. So I'll say the communists are evil.
Okay, but real quick, I want to cut you off there though. But saying somebody calls a famine, like I'll give you an example. Some might say that that Putin's causing a famine in Africa because Ukraine is having a hard time shipping grain to Africa that supports, the billion people living over there, right? So some might say that he's involved with spreading a famine over there. It's like, okay, but helping cause a famine towards a certain people, that's not the same as like deliberately going out and like actively murdering these people by the sword or by the modern day gun. They're totally two separate
Right.
things. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, but if you cause the famine, you're no different. So that's why I say the Bolsheviks are evil.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to argue.
That's what
I'm
happened
not
in
going to
the
argue.
Euphia
But
documentary.
hear what I'm saying now. Like, I'm not going to argue that they're not evil. Yeah, they are evil, but that doesn't mean that they're on the same level as what happened with the Germans in World War II. Like, just because two groups of people are evil, that doesn't mean that they. I don't get what your point is. There is what I'm saying. Like, both of
So
them
my
can be
point is,
evil. But
like,
doesn't prove that.
my point is that there's like that my point is Hitler's so my bad. I keep saying it. I mean, the mustache man's fair use evil is in. I'm saying his evil. You like if I could have to choose a lesser evils, I would say I could say he at least had a good reason for doing what he did because the communists and small hatters came there to had came there causing problems in Germany. They bought the moral down in Germany. They was bringing the moral stuff to Germany. So when when the mustache man, sorry, rose into power, um, he had drained the swamp. He got rid of the communists. He had got rid of the small headers, and that was doing the shit they was doing in Germany. He burnt the pornography books. So like that I could agree with, but here's why I disagree with the mustache man. Like he was going around putting people in Africa in internment camps, killing gypsies, like that. All that other stuff, all that other stuff is like uncalled for. So that was evil. He was just because there was more people than the small hatters that was being oppressed. People that didn't have shit to do with it. So yeah, I would say I would say he's evil too, but if I have to weigh the lesser evils, I would say yeah, there's people far more worse than him, but he's still evil, so it doesn't make any difference.
Let me. But let me ask you. Let me understand. So, was it true or false? Would you agree that Adolf, under his authority and demand, started the Second World War that led to the death of millions and millions of people? Was it him who started that conflict, or was it somebody else?
Well, basically, what he did is I don't know if I'm allowed to say this word on the panel, but what do I call him, the Reich movement, or I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word Nazi on
Yeah,
here.
don't
I
say
don't
the
know.
word, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but the Germans started their movement over there in Germany because that movement was made to fight against the Zionist bankers and the communists. Because the communists and Zionist bankers were causing trouble in Germany. The economy was messed up. You had people selling themselves for food. Uh, yeah, that like all that like the same shit we're going through right now today in this economy. He actually fought against it. Now he was draining the swamp because he had kicked out the Zionists and kicked out the communists. That was caused their problem, the parasites. So he
All right. Well, I'll
so
just agree to disagree for now. That's fine. Truth and Tellers
like I said,
Ministry.
he's still evil, but like I said, he's still evil for going around fucking with people that didn't have shit to do with it. But that's how he started off. He started off waging war against the communists and Zionists. Then he started going into other shit like racial superiority. You have this shaped skull. Where, your cheekbones is too big.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna throw you in this camp or
but
whatever.
okay, but
Like that shit was stupid.
regardless of all of that, right? All of these statements, it still boils down to the fact that he's an evil man responsible for the death of millions of people, not someone we're supposed
Yeah.
to, respect and look up to, according to what Jay is saying. So, I mean, the argument's closed on that fact right there. Truth and Tellers Ministry, you're live. I don't have much time on here tonight. If you got a question, topic, or subject, you're welcome to bring it to the table.
Yeah, bro. I mean, Jesus returned in 70 AD, so
I mean, hey, cool story, bro.
can you prove it wrong?
Did I prove it wrong? I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd say there's many ways to prove that wrong. I mean, just look at the state of the world we're living in today, man. I mean, I don't know how anyone could believe that Christ has dominion over the nations of the earth today. Like if you read, what is that, Revelation 11:15, it says when Christ comes back, the kingdoms of this world have came under his feet, and he has taken dominion over those nations. I mean, we certainly don't see that. Before you chime in, let me just finish. Like, say, for instance, there's nations on earth where you can be killed if you're preaching Jesus. There's places where the Bible is being banned, right? There's people being persecuted. Like, look what happened over in, what was it, like Ghana or something recently? Like, hundreds of Christians have been persecuted over there in recent weeks for confessing Christ. So, I mean, like, anywhere you look, it's very clear to see that this world is not under Christ's authority and guidance today. I mean, what do you guys say about that if you view differently?
Well, a couple things. First of all, Revelation 11, if you're going to go there, that doesn't help you at all, because it said that the time of the final trumpet being sounded will be at the time when the city where the Lord was crucified would fall, and that happened in 70 AD. Second of all, the text doesn't say the kingdoms of the world. It says that the kingdom, singular, of the cosmo. The word cosmo just means an ordered arrangement, man.
What are you talking about?
In Greek, if you look up what the word cosmo means, it doesn't mean the world necessarily. It just means an ordered arrangement of something. So, like, for example, in Koine Greek, there could be a cosmo of people rowing a boat, because they would have like 3 people on either side rowing the boat. They were a cosmo. It's just a way that like something functioned.
So let me just read it for the audience, and you can give a breakdown. I'll read it directly from the text, Revelation 11:15. It says, "And the 7th angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, The kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever." So you believe that? Explain that for the audience when it talks about the kingdoms of this world becoming the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ, and that he shall reign over them forever. What's your understanding on that?
Yeah. So, okay, if we look, like, for example, at let's start at verse 13. Okay. So in the Greek, verse 13 says, "And in that very hour," okay, or in that singular hour, "there was a great earthquake, and 1/10 of the city fell, and were killed in the earthquake, names of men 7,000. And the rest became terrified and gave glory to the God of heaven. The second woe has passed. Behold, the third woe is coming quickly. And the 7th angel sounded his trumpet, and there were voices, great voices, in the heaven, saying, The kingdom, singular, of the cosmo," that means the ordered arrangement, "has become that of the Lord of us and of the Christ of him, and he will reign into the ages of the ages." So again, this is singular. It's a singular kingdom about the ordered arrangement.
Real quick, what is the hour there? Like in verse 13, when it says in the same hour there was a great earthquake, what would you say that hour is?
Oh, that's at the time of the 10th of the city falling. Which, what city is it that's being described here? It's a city where our Lord was crucified, which is Jerusalem. And so at that time, that earthquake is talking about a destruction of the outer part of the city. So that earthquake, it's just using like a Hebraic apocalyptic language to talk about a great destruction coming.
Okay, what would you say the earthquake represents?
Destruction. That's why the 10th of the city falls. It's not because an actual earthquake happened. It's because it's talking about people that were non-covenant people, i.e., pagan Roman people, coming and destroying the city.
Okay. I got to bring another guest on here that's been trying to get onto the panel. Okay, hold me back a second. Yeah, you can go ahead and continue, Truth and Tell Us.
Oh, well, I'm just saying, like, again, we have to be honest with the text. It says the 10th of the city fell. Well, that city is the city where the Lord was crucified. This is talking about, and when it says the 10th, that's so it says and a 10th. Kaito dekoton. That 10th is temple imagery. It's talking about like how Abraham tithed the 10th to Melchizedek, and according to the law of Moses, they were required to tithe a 10th. That's why it says the 10th of the city. It's talking about the temple.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would argue, well, yes, Christ was physically crucified in Jerusalem, but I would argue that he's spiritually being crucified every single day. Like, look what they're doing to the character of Christ. I mean, they, like some of these sports shows out here, they openly mock Christ, make fun of Christians. In America, you go to these churches, they put up a fake image of Christ and worship and respect that image and claim it represents Christ as the Son of God. There's pagan temples, Freemasonic lodges on the same street as churches over here. They mock Christ in the White House, right? They sometime of the year during Pride Month, they decorate the White House with pride colors, right? Anybody can look up those images. So I'd argue that Christ is being spiritually crucified every single day over here in Babylon the Great.
Okay.
So
well, there's two
and
problems.
by the way, real quick, I want to also show something here. Let's read the verse. Verse 8, it says, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also the Lord was crucified." So you'd agree wherever this place is, it's not literally Sodom and Egypt. It's like spiritual, correct? You'd agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Right. So when it calls them Sodom and Egypt, there's not literally Sodom and Egypt, right?
Right. Yeah. And I can show you in the Bible where Jerusalem is called Sodom and Egypt, if you'd like.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to deny in some aspects they could have had some of the customs and practices as Sodom and Egypt. I'm not going to deny that. Just like, I'll give an example. Like in the Bible, there's other cities that are referred to as a great city, not just Babylon. I'll give you an example. Read Jonah chapter 1, verse 2. It says, "The word of the Lord went unto Jonah and said, Arise, go unto that great city, Nineveh,
Yeah.
and prophesy against it." So Nineveh got called the great city. Babylon's called the great city. Okay, well, they're obviously not the same thing. It just called them the same wording. But in context, they're clearly not the same thing. So something can be called one thing, and another thing can be called the same thing, but they not be related.
Yeah, I get that. And the thing is, though, again, John is identifying this city as Sodom and Egypt. I could show you where Jerusalem is identified. Not that they had the practices of Sodom and Egypt, but the word of God explicitly says that they are Sodom and Egypt. And when you look at the end, it says, "Where also the Lord of them was crucified." You tried to say, well, Jesus is kind of being crucified everywhere. That's not what the text says. This is an aorist indicative passive for was crucified. It's past tense. If he's saying, oh, he's always being crucified in a sense, it'd be present indicative. So that doesn't make sense either. He's identifying the past action of the Lord being crucified in Jerusalem.
Hey, brothers, let me ask you a question. If what you're saying is true about Christ returning 2,000 years ago during the siege of 70 AD, why is Jerusalem today a thriving nation? Shouldn't they be a wasteland and desolate? Like, why are they still
They are
vibrant today as a superpower if that great city fell 2,000 years ago and Christ acted against it in judgment. Why are they thriving today in the 21st century if they fell? And according to the text, it says they shall never rise from that destruction.
Yeah, because it's talking about the covenant status of those people. That's the thing. It's not about like, okay, the city itself would never be inhabited again. Jesus gives a proclamation, not one stone will be left upon another, which is true, that happened. But then you've got that covenant status. That's why the smoke of their torment rises up to the ages of the ages in Revelation. That's just hearkening back to Isaiah 34. That's about the destruction of Bozrah in Edom. It says the same thing. The smoke of her destruction will rise up into the ages of the ages, because it's covenantal loss of status or cultural loss of status. There's no longer an Israel of God as a particular bloodline. It's now the Israel of God as in the people who are Christians who believe in Christ Jesus. So yeah, Revelation's all about old covenant Israel getting done away with.
Yeah, I mean, Judah, you got anything you want to say to what he's saying?
Oh, I was busy. I stepped away for a second. I was busy doing something in my room. What was he saying? I heard
No
partially what he
problem.
was
No
saying.
problem. It was too much to recap. Yo, Jay, you there?
Yo, how's it going?
Yo, what's up?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you pretty well.
There's no echo?
Not that I see here, no.
All right. Yo.
All right, so we probably got maybe half an hour here. I wasn't going to go live for too long tonight, but yeah, now that we got you here, and truth and tell us that you can add into the discussion as well. But there was a subject that we wanted to discuss here over the last couple of days. So Jay, I'll give you the floor. You know, watch some of the words you use, because I don't want this stream to get flagged. So let me start off with this. Right, let's start off with this. So. I'm just curious, because Jay, let me ask you this off the start. Jay, you still believe in Christ as the Son of God, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm just curious how you could, on one hand, claim that you believe in Christ and represent Christ and teach Christ to your followers, but on the other hand, you claim that you also respect and look up to Adolf as some type of like commendable character. So I'm just
Correct, yeah.
confused. Maybe you can just explain to me how you can claim to follow Christ and follow Adolf at the same time to some degree or another. Like, cheers.
Well, what would your question be pertaining to? Like, what
Well,
aspects?
well,
Because
I'll give.
all
Well, sure.
alone, that statement is like what I believe in.
Okay. Well, I'll give an example. Like, if you go to Exodus, the 20th chapter, one of the first commandments is that thou shalt not kill. But Adolf, under his authority and guidance, in World War II, led to the death of millions of people. Like, even if you wanted to argue that the numbers were over exaggerated, we're not going to pretend that it's nothing, right? There obviously over 1 million people perished due to his may I say, crusade over the nations he wanted to conquer. So how could you follow somebody that led to the death of millions, or at least 1 million, and claim that you follow Christ at the same time? But Christ told that we're not supposed to kill anybody.
Well, that's a very generic question. Are we talking about the war, or are we talking about the systematic, like, roundup of like people sent to like extermination? What are you getting at, like with the
Well, I mean,
camps or the
I
war
think,
itself?
well, I think that you're just using a semantic argument, because it doesn't
Not at
matter
all.
how.
Those are two
Well,
different
let me
things.
just finish real quick. It doesn't matter how it was. Like, somebody might say, well, maybe they caused a mass famine. Maybe they, like, killed them with a sword or a gun, or another form, like a slavery roundup or something. But regardless of what way it is, the fact still stands that it led to the death of well over 1 million. I'd say, again, multiple millions, but even if you wanted to say that it was over exaggerated, we could even go with 1 million just for argument's sake.
What
So
is
I
but
don't
what
see how
is
you
over
could
exaggerated? You're not really like specifying any
say that again. I didn't hear you.
I said what are you specifying because you're like saying like, oh, if it's a million, well, what are you like getting at? Like, what's
Well, I'm
name
trying to
what
give.
you're saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, under Adolf and his guidance, it led to the death of millions of people. Now, I said I'll give you a handicap because you might say, well, maybe it's being over exaggerated. So I'm saying, okay, well, let's give you a handicap and say it was just 1 million. They claim it's like what, 5 to 11 million. Let's just
Okay,
claim it's
so
1 million for argument's sake.
we're talking about the HOLOCAUST. Is that what you're getting at?
We can talk about this, yes, but
Okay,
many
because
other people
the
died
way that
besides that, so
you're
we can
asking that
refer to that.
question is going into that, like, it seems like that's what you're like alluding to. But
Well,
if
well,
that's
I'm
what you're
saying,
alluding to,
let's just say this in general, right? Whether we're talking about that or the entire war in its entirety, the fact is that under the guidance of Adolf, right, he was the reason why World War II began because he wanted to conquer surrounding nations. So it's because of his action that led to the death of millions. So again, whether you want to say it's this camp here, this battleground here, it doesn't really matter because in either form, it's still the death of millions. So that's what I'm trying to
well,
get
no,
at.
because those are two different situations. If you want to talk about the what I just spelt out a moment ago, it was no near close to the proposed numbers. We'll say 6 million. In larger context, they say it's 11 million. That's the agreed upon number. It's 6 million Jays, and then it's 5 million others. So like be like rainbows and slobs and gypsies and whatnot. But to be
Okay.
honest, none of those really it, the mainstream story doesn't make any kind of sense. There's a lot of narratives in the mainstream report that just are like it's just like looking at like 9/11 or like flat Earth. It's hard to believe the official report when these people are known to being prone to lie a lot. So you got to look at it at that kind of
Right,
lens.
right, but
And
okay,
there's a
but
lot
my
of
friend, that's why I'm
inconsistencies
saying
within the
like if you
narrative
listen to
too.
what I said multiple times, like we'll even give you a handicap and say, okay, maybe it's being over exaggerated by say a couple million. Like even if we still said that, the fact is still at least a million to a couple million died because of his actions. So I'm just
No,
curious of how you can
not at all.
defend
No,
him and
nobody
his.
died because of
Wait,
his
but bro, you have
actions.
to listen to what I'm saying in order to give a response.
No, I understand
I'm
what
just
you're saying. You're asking me
okay.
if how can I follow Christ and follow this guy that supposedly killed all these people if the Bible says you're not supposed to kill. Well, in reality, he never intentionally tried to kill anybody. He was prone to war. He sent a lot of peace treaties to London. Churchill turned them all down, and then they started an offense against him. So he started a defense. Usually, that's what happens when you have countries that go to war. So he sent at least like 5 peace treaties. He sent his right hand man to fly a plane to meet English people, and then he parachuted down from the plane to what he thought was going to be a peace talks, and they ended up arresting him, and he died in like the 90s in prison for the rest of his life. So I mean, there's a lot of like treaties and pleas that this guy sent to the English and whatnot, and they all were turned down. And then they started an offense against him, so he started a defense. And usually death comes from
So
it.
okay, but
Intentionally, no, he did
so
not kill people.
but let me understand though. So you're saying that he didn't even start the war at all?
No.
Okay. Well, where do you get that from? Like, what's leading you to that conclusion?
Well, I mean, if you look at the narrative, like if you look at the way that the events played out, he didn't start any war. He was rebuilding a German empire. A lot of those states wanted to join
Okay.
the Germans into you know, Austria was once part of the German Empire. They separated like in the 1860s, but they wanted to join back with Germany. So did the Czechs. So I mean, there's not really too much there, that like,
Okay,
oh,
but
he
but but
invaded
with
these
but with that
lands,
being said, though, the way
but they
they
wanted to
let's
join
just
back with
say it,
them.
they did want to come back under that union, right? So he would send military to occupy that land, right? To bring them back under the fold. Like say for instance, like we could even look at today with Russia invading Ukraine, right? Over the last 4 years, they have multiple territories now they've took back underneath the Russian umbrella, right? That they consider to be their territory that they annexed from Ukraine. They'll argue, well, in the past, that used to be part of us, so now we took it back under our fold, like it once formerly was, however long ago. But with the fact being said, they still had to take those regions by force by putting troops on the ground and invading. So would you argue that Adolf didn't do that?
No, there's probably a part that came to that. He definitely moved his military into the regions, but I mean, there was a lot of so you're not understanding the larger situation that was at hand. So Hitler, or I'm sorry, but like when you open these kind of discussions, like these are like the words that are used. A lot of people use these, but the mustache man, he was battling Marxism and communism within like Europe. So these countries were having all these influences in there, and these people were causing uprisal, like causing like revolutions. They were like killing people, bombing like political buildings and stuff. So I mean, you would want to move your military into this, so like these kind of situations don't go on. And even when he did start the defense against Russia, he started the blitzkrieg against Russia. And when he was invading Soviet lands to the east, a lot of the native ethnic Russians were actually happy to see these people move in, because under the Soviet rule, they were seizing agricultural grain, systematically rounding up people and killing them by a count number. Um, for banning religion, killing clergy. So when you have people that are coming into your land that you are now oppressed in, and then you have people that are like saviors coming into your land, you're gonna like praise people like that. So like when the I don't know what to call them. When the Mustache Man's army invaded, they were opening up churches again. People were like going back to church for a brief moment, and even some of the women and some of like the villagers went back west with some of these the Mustache Man's soldiers to fight the communists. So I mean, there's a large overtone that I don't think you're like really like playing into the
Yeah, but
proportion.
what I'm saying though, like what has me at a loss for words is like any history book that I own and read over about the history of World War II. I'll speak about how the Germans under Adolf's command, they would invade this nation here, this one over there, and expand the war all over Europe. But you're saying that none of that's at all true, correct?
There's probably a mixture of truth, bundled with,
Okay, so
fabrication.
like
But we
even
have.
like
But
say
hold on,
for
hold on.
instance,
Let me
okay,
say one thing.
right.
I just don't understand like your questioning though. So like if they can lie about the shape of the earth, or lie about who the Israelites are, or lie about like any other thing like 9/11, why can't you like mentally like question this narrative, but question those, and you blindly accept this one, like when
Okay,
the
but
history
real
books are
quick, my
written
friend,
by the
this is
Lord.
why I'm gonna call you naive and clearly ignorant. Now, if you paid attention, I literally acknowledged and stated, okay, perhaps maybe some statements could be over exaggerated, but that doesn't mean that it's all completely not true. Like, say for instance, I said, okay, they claim that like, say, maybe 11 million people died. I said, okay, well, even if we cut that number in half by say 50%, maybe it was over exaggerated for a narrative. It's like, okay, that doesn't now make Adolf some type of like righteous leader. I mean, that's such a dumb statement to have. Like, and the audience really wants you to answer this question. A few people have asked, and they want you to acknowledge and address how you can claim you follow the God of the Bible and follow his son Christ, where the Bible tells us not to kill. But under this man's command, they went and killed. Now, again, you could debate about what the number was.
Yeah,
That's all.
it's a war, man.
That
You
again,
have
we can
people saying
speculate about that.
listen.
But the fact is, you can't deny that under his demand, his army went and murdered. They killed, raped, and pillaged. I mean, what are you missing here? How can you defend that?
It's war. People are gonna die. That's just the thing. Like say hypothetically, let's say you are one day sleeping in your house, all right, and then you have like 10 different guys outside your house demanding entrance. Are you not? And you are legally by law to you can own a weapon. Are you not going to fire at these people and try to defend your life from them taking your life? I mean, like that's just
Well, yeah,
reality,
but
man. That's the situation.
let me ask you this question: would you say that that Putin on his war in Ukraine, is he a mass murderer?
I'm not really here to discuss Putin.
No,
That was irrelevant.
but real quick, I want to show your ignorance. Answer the question: is Putin a mass murderer? Yes or no?
I really don't know too much about the Ukrainian war to even answer that.
Okay, but you're just being ignorant, because if I
I'm
put you in
not.
a trick
I've
bag,
never
now
looked into it.
listen. Hey, Tazariak says listening is an art. Just listen to what's
That
being
guy's a
said. If
retard,
you
man. Like,
say,
stop listening to that guy.
hey Jill, not Jill, excuse me, Jay, listen for a second. If you say yes, Putin is a mass murderer, it's like, okay, yeah, I would agree with you. But that also proves that Adolf would be as well, because under his demand, his troops went and killed a bunch of people. Now, you could argue about the lore, the history, the reason why, but none of that matters, because the fact remains that under his demand, they went, raped, and killed. So that's a
No,
cut.
they never raped anybody. No, there may be like, offhand like individuals that probably did that, but I wouldn't say that they deliberately like went into lands and
Okay,
they
so
into these
okay,
houses and raped
let's
these
say this.
women in
Let's say
large
this. Maybe
numbers.
let's just assume they didn't do that. But you'd agree they killed people, right? They killed women and children, right? You wouldn't deny that.
I would agree with that, but that's war though. Like every country has done that, so that's irrelevant.
But what I'm saying though is, how can you sit there and defend that when the Bible, the book that you claim you represent and believe in, tells us that we're not supposed to go kill?
If you
Like
read
somebody put it
Deuteronomy,
up.
if you read Deuteronomy, it clearly says you could say, hey, kill the men in battle. But if you see a pretty woman, you get to take her. So obviously, it depends. If you're doing it for a righteous reason, you could pillage. Like for instance, Israel had took the land from the Canaanites, because the Canaanites were doing wicked shit like sacrificing babies to Moloch and different gods. So the Most High said, hey, go up in there and fuck up the Canaanites. So I mean, like, okay, like if you're not doing it for a righteous purpose, that's evil. But if you're doing it for a righteous purpose, to pillage people that's doing evil, and make that land righteous, and leave anybody alive in that land who do say, hey, if you're willing to get with the righteous order, then of course we'll leave you alive. Then that's not evil. It depends on what
Okay,
type of pillage you
so
do.
let me ask you. I'll ask Judah and Jay the question. So you guys believe, with that reasoning, that Adolf and his the
I
troops
don't
under
believe
his
it.
command, it was for a righteous movement, you'd say?
Oh, most definitely,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
most
say
definitely.
so, but
Oh, I
I
do got
don't
to answer that.
idolize.
Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
good.
most definitely, I would say it was a righteous cause because you, my friend, are very ignorant to the situations of what was going on in the Germans' homeland. A lot of like the communist influence. There was a lot of like degeneracy going on after World War One. There was high inflations. They were in a Great Depression, and even the upper class people, the communists move in, and then they took over what half of the land. It was the Weimar Republic, and then you have these Jayish bureaucrats and psychologists coming in and everything and teaching T uh, gender studies and sexology, and then you get stuff that's like from people like Sigmund Freud, and I mean, like the whole list can go on. If you look into the mustache man, the NZ book burning. They held a one night book burning where they were burning books, but nobody ever really talks about the books that they were burning until now. Lately, a lot of like these leftist movements are like, oh yeah, the mustache man, the Izzies were burning books on genderism. I mean, like that. I would say that's definitely for a righteous cause. They were uprooting the plague that was on their houses, and they found out what it was, and they banned all this. They kicked all the degenerates out. They got rid of all the degenerate culture, and for the brief moment that they had, they created what would be kind of like a moral society. Maybe there was flaws in that, but there's it's not heaven. So they try to do what they can in the brief moment that they had. So I would say yes, it definitely was for a righteous cause. If you compare the Russians to Germany, the Russians were like what people nowadays, this guy was so evil. These people were doing all this abominable stuff. But if you look at it compared to like these people, there was barely anything compared to the Russians. Like the Russians won the war. The history's written by the winners. So of course the people that lost are going to be made to look like the bad guys. That's always history. But go ahead, Judah.
Yeah. So I was asked, do I personally believe Hitler is? Do I idolize Hitler? No. Now
Hey,
I would say
Judah,
Hitler, like,
hey, Judah,
oh,
I don't
sorry,
want
my
to
bad.
remove you from the stage, but that's the 10th time that you violated my guidelines.
Sorry,
You're gonna
yes,
now, Judah.
sorry, I
I'm gonna say
distracted
this:
you.
you either have to get your tongue under control or just don't talk. Like I don't.
The,
Again, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm saying I don't know how you keep messing up 10 times, man. You know what I'm saying?
sorry, I get it. Yeah,
Come on now.
sorry, I got ADHD. So it's sorry to cut. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's the mustache man. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say, so do I personally believe the mustache? Do I idolize mustache man? No. Do I believe in some of his ideologies? No. So here's what I agree. I do agree that going after the Marxists, or am I allowed to say Zionists on
Go
here,
ahead.
or is that? Yeah. So going after the Marxists and Zionists, I do agree. But so that I agree with, but like the other stuff, like the Aryan bloodlines, the Aryan bloodlines, and then because also he didn't it wasn't the small hatters that was in the concentration camps. It was other people too, like the oppression of the Romani people, like that I didn't agree with, like going after people that didn't have shit to do with it. But going after the Marxists and Zionists, I 100% agree with it. I mean, like I said, I don't believe he's the most evil guy out there. There's tons of evil people that's as evil as him or more evil than him. Like I said, I believe the Bolsheviks were more evil than them, because if you look at the Europia documentary, the Bolsheviks I can't say is far more eviler, because the Bolsheviks had killed a lot of Christians. If you hear about what the Bolsheviks did with the Christians, gutted them alive, tore their guts out, like horrifically tortured people. They caused a famine, and millions of people died in the European famine, by the way, where they had to eat their own children. That was also done by the Bolsheviks. So I wouldn't say he's the most, to compare. He is evil, but compared to the Bolsheviks' evil, the Bolsheviks were more evil. And he was, and the Bolsheviks, communists that caused the plague and did all the evil shit, he was going after them. So
Hey,
I
Judah,
can say he's.
I'm gonna chime in real quick, and I'm gonna ask you a question, and this can go for both you and for Jay. If you agree to some degree or another that Adolf was evil, why would we, as righteous men of God, follow an evil man by your own admission? Mike's yours.
I'm not following. Like I said, I'm not following the mustache man, but okay, going after the Marxists and communists, I could
From
give them
someone who
points for that,
disagrees,
but
it seems like you're arguing in defense of them to some degree or another, man.
I'm not defending them. I just can't. I just said, like, I could agree with him going after the Marxists and communists. and Zionists, that I agree with, because actually those are our enemies in the Bible. They're Israelites who say they're Israelites, but they're not Israelites. The communists that want to bring forth the mark of the beast. I mean MOBT chip. Sorry. Like those same exact enemies of Revelations he was going after. So that I could give him points for, but like the other stuff, like besides like the unnecessary killings, then then he was aborting babies based on genetic codes and all that other stupid shit. I mean that's why I say he's evil. And
Okay.
and the whole thing about stealing the Aryan identity from the Arabs, well, the Persians.
But
That's
real quick, I want
that's
to.
the another part I don't agree
Well,
with.
as I stated, we do have limited time tonight, so I'll try to give everybody a chance to speak. But Jay, one more thing I'll throw at you is about the roundup of a certain group of people. You can read between the lines, but you're saying that that's like all mythology and a lie. Well, my question for you would be, um, well, how do you deal with the fact that you can visit these places today where these accounts took place? So wouldn't you agree that there's some historical fact to these events? Now, again, you might argue it's over exaggerated, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen at all, though, would be my argument. So, like, how do you address that you can visit these places today where these historical events happen that you believe, or at least I assume you believe, didn't at all happen? What's your thoughts?
No, I never said I didn't believe that they didn't happen at all. You can visit these places, but I mean, from what they are, I mean, what they say they were used for, they definitely were not used for. These were labor camps. You know, they would send prisoners. The war
I'm not
here.
gonna. I'm not gonna
Um,
argue. Right, okay, but I'm not going to argue. Here's the problem. You can say they were labor camps. It's like, okay, I agree, but is it not true that these people were abused and tortured and malnourished on these plantations and work farms that you, as you call them? Is that not true? Are you going to deny that these people were treated these vile ways on these farms?
I mean, that's a possibility, but I mean, that doesn't really matter in the long run. I mean, like, we
Why does
never
that
really know
not
what these
matter?
people are here for. So, like, you know, God dictates stuff in his own way. So, I mean, this could be punishment for something that they did. You know, I'm not gonna, disagree with any of that, but I definitely don't think people were being round up in, like, showers and then, gassed and, oh God. And, I'm assuming that's something that you're also gonna go with, right? You're gonna ask me that
Well,
too?
well, I mean, we could get there. Like you said that you, well, let's look at it this way. So I don't know if you've seen like the historical, video accounts from these times. You can see like the mass, piles of the deceased, from these camps. So like,
Yeah, the
what's your thoughts on
shoes and
that? Like,
stuff.
how do
Yeah,
you
I've seen
believe
those.
they ended up that way if there's like no truth at all to these accounts of what happened there to some degree or another?
Well, I mean, people die, people bury people places. So I mean, no, that's
Yeah,
you
but
go
but
to a funeral today.
so you're saying that they like died of natural causes, not of like that like I don't get what you're saying. You make it sound like they
I
died
mean,
of like natural
well, no,
causes, not
because
of like
you're
harm
asking
and
me
abuse.
questions,
You know what I'm
but I don't
saying?
think you
Like,
really
come
know where
on,
you're
man.
coming with the questions to ask me. So like that's like what I'm trying to
I
like.
think I'm
Yeah.
being very clear with what I'm saying. I'm just at a loss for words how someone could believe and claim they believe in Christ and follow the Bible, but yet you also believe that Adolf was actually like a noble, respectable dude who wasn't responsible for the death of at least a million to a few million people. Like again, you could say that maybe there's a conspiracy involved, maybe there's some lies and over exaggeration. You can say that, but I'm saying to sit there and pretend that this is like some noble figure that you can just follow and also believe in Christ at the same time, that's just a lie and a contradiction. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know how you can follow Christ and still believe in somebody like that.
Well, I mean, when
That's
Christ
not
returns,
true.
he's gonna kill millions of people. So I don't really see what like the ordeal is. Like, if you have a problem with this guy, killing this number of people, whether it was deliberate or not deliberate, or maybe a nuance in between. I mean, Jesus is gonna do the same thing. You don't have a problem with that, right?
Well, now let me answer the question. Christ
The
is going to
Israelites
come
went
back.
to war. They've killed millions of people. They fucking like genocided the Canaanites. I
All
mean,
right, take
sure,
it, take
God
it, take a
organized
chill
that, but
pill.
you don't
Take
have
it,
anything
take a
against
chill
that.
pill. Take a chill pill for a second.
I'm
Now,
chill.
when God, are you going to let me speak? Now, when
Yeah,
God
go ahead.
orders the invasion on other people, or when Christ comes back and is going to bring judgment upon nations, that's being done for a reason. They were living in sin. They broke God's laws and commandments. They treated his people harshly. That's why they're being punished these ways. When Adolf has sent his troops to invade these countries and lands and, murder these people, it's because of his own selfish views and his faults about what his nation should expand into. So
And you're
I don't know how
welcome
you
to
can
believe that,
justify
but
that
I mean,
compared
that's
to
just
how God
nonsense.
rules.
I mean, you're welcome to believe that about the guy, but that's just nonsense. I mean, like,
Again,
I feel
bro,
like
you're
you
welcome. You're
probably
welcome
have
to
just
believe what
watched
you
a
want,
couple of
but you're
History
proven to
Channel
be a
documentaries,
novice on what you're
and now
saying,
you're
buddy.
trolling.
That I just honestly don't see how
I
you
get
can
a
sit here
question.
and say this nonsense. Go ahead.
I get a
To be
question,
honest with
ET.
you, man, I don't think you really know where you're coming from. You probably have
I
watched a
think,
couple of History
buddy,
Channel
I think that
documentaries, and you don't know
I'm
what you're
sorry. Go
talking about.
ahead. What do I not know? I'd say I probably watched more history about this stuff than you do. I think you're just repeating nonsense that you believed on the internet. In fact, let me show you that. 2 months ago, you weren't saying this stupid shit, but now
I've
you
been
are.
saying this for
Could
2
it be
years now.
because
I
you
don't know what
just
it is.
recently got tricked into believing this dumb nonsense?
No, I've been
Like, come
saying
on,
this for
man.
like 2
You're
years.
smarter than this.
I've been saying
Bro,
this for
you're
2
lying
years.
for your teeth, buddy.
No,
You
I'm
haven't
not.
been
You can
saying this
ask
for two
LOD.
years.
We
Why
were
are you
watching
sitting
these
up here?
documentaries for the last 2 years. I don't talk about
Okay.
all this because I'm not going to go on YouTube and risk my YouTube channel being banned. There's a reason why I don't deliberately, openly talk about this kind of stuff. But I
I
mean,
haven't
for
seen
some
you talk
reason,
about this
I
shit in
try talking to
Discord
you.
or any stream, man, other than the last 2 months. Now, hell, maybe on the side, maybe you watched some documentaries and kept it to yourself. I'm not going to argue that you on that. Maybe you did that. But as far as coming out on your Discord showing, oh, well, here's, the swatsy on a, a dinner plate or a bowl or something like you showed like 2 months ago. That's just recently. So you haven't
Yeah, I
been
bought
teaching or
some merch
saying this
off
stuff
of Boiling
2 years.
TV.
It's
I
just
mean,
really
that's not
recently, man.
anything bad.
But yo, Judah, you had something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So you'll call him a murderer because he killed a lot of s- well, am I allowed to say small hats on here? I just,
Yeah, go ahead. And just so I know,
so
you're
you'll call
referring.
him a murder?
Oh, and I have a
Yeah,
But
you,
response after that too.
you.
clarify
I
for
was
me
going
when
to
you
say.
say him, because we're talking about multiple people. But I assume you're talking about Adolf, correct?
Yeah, so when you call him a
Okay.
murderer for killing a lot of small hats,
Right.
isn't the small hats considered Gentiles? Why should we care that he killed them? Like they're Gentiles. I mean,
What
look at the
type of
stuff they
dumb?
did.
What
They
type
stole the
of dumb?
identity of the children of Israel.
Judah,
I got a response to that too afterwards.
Hold on a second, Judah. That's such an ignorant statement. The Bible says we're not
What do you
supposed to
mean?
just senselessly. We're not, hey, bro, just chill out a second, and I'll give you a chance to speak. We're not supposed to go out and kill any people just for the sake of doing it. Like I don't
I
know
didn't say that it's
what you're
war.
talking about.
It's a righteous war though. But
Yeah, but
I'm not,
what?
like I'm
But
saying, if
you just shot
in the
yourself in the
Bible,
foot because Adolf is not a righteous war. They weren't doing that under
I
the
didn't say that.
authority of God. Like you're making a knucklehead out of yourself, man. What are you
No,
talking
I'm
about?
saying he's a Gentile, but he's fighting against other Gentiles. But
Okay,
however,
that doesn't
there were
make
evil.
the mass murder right. But like what? Like say for
Yeah, but
instance,
there
by
were
that
evil
logic,
Gentiles.
hey, chill out for a second. By that logic, does God view it as wrong for a Gentile to steal from another Gentile? Does God view that as wrong? Obviously,
I
He
mean,
does, right? So
I mean, yeah,
I
but I
mean,
mean, yeah,
this is
but if you
bad,
look at
man.
what this,
This is really bad.
if you look at, but see, guess what though? They're devils though. Like the Zion, like the small hatters, they stole they stole the identity from the biblical Israelites. They went with their little banks, spreading pornography, and immoral shit. Uh, uh, then so yeah, all your Epstein's and I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name on here. Epstein's Bolsheviks, fucking Rothschilds. I mean, I would say he did the right thing. You know, I'm not saying I'm not saying he's righteous. I'm not saying he's a holy man, but I know I see why he did that. When I look on the news and see the Epsteins and I see exactly why he did that. You know, and I say every last one of those people, those small hatters, deserved it.
Yo, let me
I'll
challenge you something
have
with
to
that. Can I
disagree
say
with you on
something?
that, but go ahead, Jay, if
They're
you got something.
Gentiles. Why should you care about them? They're
Before
Gentiles.
Hey,
before anybody interrupts,
you're
so
clearly not
just like
knowledgeable what you're talking about. Go ahead, Jay.
I got something to add into that. All right, can you hear
Go
me?
ahead. Yes, sir, we hear you.
All right. So I'm assuming that you wouldn't say it's a righteous war. I'm gonna go with that from like your estimations on what he just said. But uh, comparable to like righteous wars that God sent the Israelites to do. You know, sent them in the land of Canaan, sent them elsewhere, getting rid of all the adultery and
Right.
immorality. Well, in reality, that's kind of what like the Mustache Man did. Uh, he tried building up his people. He's seen the plague that these people were to his country and to nearby countries. He came in, uprooted out all that evil. These small hat people have been plaguing Germany for a while now with like usury and money lending and in the international banking and profiting off the native people there for their own benefits. And then they're teaching all these like lucrative and abominable teachings in the schools and the colleges and the universities, leading the young native populist people there astray while they were also at home not doing what they were practicing, like in the colleges in the Frankfurt School. This is a popular Marxist communist school that was in the Weimar Republic in Germany. All right. uh they were in there teaching all like this like LGBT stuff and way beyond stuff like like I don't want
ETT,
to say it all right.
ETT,
And
if I may,
Yeah, Joe, you're
just let
welcome.
me finish.
uh,
Yeah, Jay, you can finish your statement, but then Jill, if you want to say something,
That's
you're
fine.
welcome to chime in
That's
after
fine.
him.
So all this degeneracy was going on. All right, they've been plaguing Central Europe and Europe for over a centuries. All right, and finally now somebody's tackling that because they seen the evil and they had a response to that. Like that's always like the cause and effect situation. If you look at these people that they were going to war against, if you look at the people that they were putting in these labor camps, they were traders, people that they sold them out, communist Marxists, enemy soldiers, and traitors. These were all like probably most of them degenerate people, bureaucrats, whatnot, and probably spies. So these are the people that like that were probably in there. So I definitely would say this was a righteous, maybe not entirely, but there was definitely a righteous cause behind all this. Behind the regime, the Mustache Man's regime. Them coming to power, the book burnings, and just their whole like the 9 yards. There's a lot that I want to say that I can't really say, but if you actually like sat down and to look at a lot of these situations that were going on in Germany and whatnot, if you comparable to Russia, did you know that Russia used to have a royal family? They were the Romanov family. And when the Bolsheviks, if you don't know what the Bolsheviks are, they were the precursors to the Soviet Union. It was Trotsky, Lenin, and what's the Stalin. They were they Trotsky and Lenin and all like their cohorts were actually Freemasons and Jays. This was well documented. And actually, the Mustache Man, when he came to power, he banned Freemasonry and Jayism. But over in Russia, they didn't. They were lenient on these people, and it came to bite them in the ass. So around like 1917, the Bolsheviks, which were the Communist Party, invaded this the Russia's royal family, and they took them in the night, took their servants, took their the guy's wife, all his kids, and they murder them in the night. and that's really, degenerate to do. And if you see this going on for centuries, you're going to have the same kind of like mindset and way to approach this that these guys had, the mustache man and his regime. Like this is the outcome of all like the I don't know how would I say it, the without like getting removed, the grasp that these people had on these individuals, these Jays, and a lot of them were Jays. And in truth, if that's the case, well, I mean, Jays are what Edom. So I mean, like Obadiah 1, like the Bible talks all throughout how like Edom is going to be destroyed brutally at the end of the days, and in between. So I mean, um, that's just the situation that's going to happen.
All
So I
right.
definitely would say
Jill,
those
you're
righteous
welcome
motives.
to chime in.
Yeah, there's a lot of things wrong here. First and foremost, comparing any of these actions to the biblical wars is just absurd. For one, the man in question was in fact a social Darwinist. So he promoted social Darwinism. He rejected biblical moral equality, and he treated power and racial survival as his ultimate value. What he would not the Lord, not thus saith the Lord. So he rejected the Christian idea of a just war, which is why he can go after non-combatants and things that Deuteronomy teaches us not to do during war. So there's really no justification for his actions biblically, at least. The Geneva Convention was created because of the horrors of the crimes that this man was the spearhead figure in. The Geneva principles are birthed out of a biblical worldview and the principles of how you are to engage the enemy. Deuteronomy 20 puts limitations on war. It distinguishes between combatants and civilians. The mustache man, he erased such distinctions. So there really is no comparison. As a Christian, you really can only justify what thus saith the Lord. You can never, because there's so many parameters that are involved that we either ignore or we're ignorant of. We can never justify any war outside of Scripture. Especially this one, because he's replacing what you say is a wicked ideology with a wicked ideology. So there really is no comparison. That's not what was going on in the Scriptures.
Yeah, believe it or not, I got to agree with Jill on this point. Believe that or not, this is something I got to agree with Jill on. But yeah, Jay, if you got something to say in response to Jill's response, feel free to do so.
Well, I mean, I got a lot of things to say. I mean, you had a lot of questions last time. I came to answer those, and bring like arguments, that I know to the table, like regarding, the HOLOCAUST and this guy and that guy. But I mean, now you're on like borrowed time, so I'm not really sure how that would really work out. But I mean, I've never really, I never
But real
claimed for
quick,
this guy to be a saint,
I don't mean to
but I don't
overtalk you,
really
but
care, like at the end of the day. I mean,
hey
the
Jay, real
distinguishing
quick,
between soldier
just
and
hey,
non-soldier.
can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Yo, can someone know if my mic's working?
Yeah.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I just want to chime in just real quick, Jay. Let's just talk about this for like 2 minutes, just so we can get an understanding of what you're saying. So as far as the mass roundup, again, we'll watch what we say so this video don't get striked. But for the mass roundup, I brought up a historical piece of evidence to support this happened. Not only can you visit these sites where these things happen. There's survivors who can give you an account of the horrors they experience. We have Anne Frank, who, if you read into her writings at the end, they got, rounded up and sent off to one of these camps at the end, right? You said that she is basically a work of fiction or something like that. Then I brought up the fact that there's a very famous video on the internet of there's one video where you can see Anne Frank looking out from over a balcony. This is the only known video footage of her that exists. So I think that alone proves she is true, which if she's real, that shows that there's some type of authenticity to her story, to her binder that she left to us with her writings in it. Would you disagree, or what do you got to say?
Okay, yeah, I have a response to that.
Yep.
Just don't like interrupt me. No, I never claimed that she was a work of fiction. I said that her whole situation has a lot of fiction within it. Because if you look at like the official stories, like just as like in the last like 40 years, her father had a whole lawsuit against the publisher that publishes her journal. So like why would that be so much contention with that as well? But also these photos, like all we're gonna mention like these photos, even like the people that were like rounded up. Oh, there's photos of them. Anne Frank's stepsister has went on Good Morning America talking about when she was liberated from the camps that there was no cameras there when the Russians supposedly liberated these camps. They came back and filmed the places after the war. So like she has mentioned that there was no cameras, and she was a witness there. She was a key testament witness there when these camps were liberated and the people were supposedly rescued. There was no people filming these people walking in like these chain link fences and whatnot. And she had a good point. If you look at the footage, there was no snow, and when she was liberated, there was snow. And she also said that the footage was filmed later for the world to see. So like a lot of that, you got to look at with like a grain of salt.
Yeah, but I
And I
mean,
never
couldn't it just
claimed
be
that she was
easily?
fiction. I'm just saying that there's
Well, let's
issues
do
with
one point
it.
at a time, though. Again, I want to hear what you're saying, but so we don't lose train of thought. But with that statement you said, well, couldn't it just be that they came and recorded it at a week or month that she wasn't there present? Like, remember, this is back in the 40s. It's not like everybody had a damn phone like how me and you have, man. This was newer tech back then. The cameras and shit. So it's not like there was just one that everyone had in their back pocket. Somebody actually had to come out with equipment and set it up and record whatever it was that they needed to record. It's not like how we have it today. So just because it wasn't there on the few days she was there, whatever, doesn't mean that it's all like, staged for a agenda or something. Hell, that's what Silver Rain's Soul Unchained Mind would say is his argument.
Yeah, you're taking a lot of out of his playbook. Like you're like on his level right now.
On his level, boy, I'm cooking you like stir fry here.
Not
What are you
really, no.
talking
Like
about?
you're running around with like semantic arguments, man. It's just like
Bro,
nonsense.
that's what you're doing. Like Jill, think
No,
about
no,
this,
no.
Jill. Hey, yo, hold up a second, Jill. Think about this. How can he sit there and say he believes in Jesus, but yet also believe in Adolf when Adolf, under his demand and authority, led armies that slayed millions because of his ideologies and views of what the world should be? How can you claim you believe in Christ and believe in this mass murder? I can't fathom that.
Well, I
It's
don't
just
do
so
major mass
strange.
murder, so that's where like our
Well, you're
our
just
mindset
but
is
okay, but
absolutely
Jay, you
different.
don't believe that because you're incredibly ignorant and naive. I
Not
don't
at
know how
all.
you could
No,
say,
no, not at
"Hey,
all.
Joe, you got something to say to this? This is getting
Well,
dark."
when you study the ideology of the mustache man, he didn't even use a biblical worldview for justifying his actions. So I really don't see how you can suggest that this was a just war when
Well, I mean, have any of you actually ever read what he like published?
yeah,
I
yes,
guarantee
yes, I
you
have. Yeah,
haven't read
I
his
have.
book.
Yeah, I have. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. All
There's,
right.
or excuse me, the mustache man's regime rejected what the Bible teaches about war entirely. He embraced racial supremacy. There's total war without any moral restraint. That the Geneva Framework, which is built by Christians, which is based off of Deuteronomy 20, war does not erase moral law. So the Mustache Man's regime rejected this assumption entirely. So I can't even begin to build an argument for suggesting that his wars were just. I'm sorry. There were too many biblical principles that were violated.
I mean, that's fine. I didn't come up here to argue if the guy was a saint or not, from a biblical perspective.
No,
Like,
no.
I was asked about like how many people died. What was my thoughts on like him being compared to like
Even if it was
Jesus,
just one person, even if it was
this was a
even if it
murder,
was just
all
one
of that.
person that died, you're missing the point. Even if it's just one person that he killed or murdered, the reason why he's doing it, the ideology that he's promoting, is just as wicked as the people who he was deemed to be wicked. So there really isn't any room for biblical grounding if your purpose for going into the war or killing someone is because you want to replace their wicked ideology with your wicked ideology, not what thus saith the Lord. There's no justification for that. You
One thing
can't
I
say
wanted to
that
say,
this
No, I
person is a
didn't
bad
come up here
this person's a
to
Gentile,
discuss that,
and
though. There was questions that were for me, and I came to answer those. And there was a set amount of questions ETT asked last stream about like, oh, the hollow scene and the numbers and Anne Frank, and if you believe in Jesus, how can you justify this guy if he was a mass billion murderer? And there was another thing that that's what I came to like discuss. I didn't come to like discuss
sure.
if like he was a
Well,
saint or not.
no one's suggesting he's a saint. You're missing the
But
point.
see,
The point is
here's
that you
another
have
thing,
no.
though.
You have
Hold on.
the point I'm
Here's
making.
another
Hold
thing,
on,
though.
brother.
Even if they
You're missing the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that not that he killed as much as what they are saying he killed. The ideology behind why he's doing it and what he wants to replace is just as the wicked regime is just as wicked. It's not a biblical principles. They're not biblical teachings. Just because the abortionist goes in and takes out LGBTQ and now implements their abortion laws doesn't mean you can justify their abortion morality because they took out the LGBTQ. I mean, there's
a lot more than just that.
Both of them are wicked regimes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I could get your reasoning. I wouldn't agree with it, but yeah, I can understand.
You wouldn't agree with
where you're coming at.
Well, hold on. You're a Christian. You wouldn't agree with two wicked regimes fighting over each other. You would have to disagree with both of those wicked regimes. You wouldn't side on which one is the more wicked, or in your opinion. You wouldn't side with either, because you're a Christian, and they are both enemies of the cross. They both were teaching racial supremacy, supposedly.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. I was waiting for you to get to that the racial part of it. So like that doesn't really bother me, because like these people. Well, I would
it only bothers you when the small hat.
I'm an Israelite. I'm already racialist as it can get. Like, so that doesn't really bother me. Like, my view set is that Jesus is racist as well. He was a racialist. He was a nationalist. He came for his people only. So, I mean, like, at the end of the day, that doesn't really, like, change anything for me. Because I already view stuff as that as well.
What are you talking about?
Well, then you misunderstand what the principles of Scripture actually are, and that's why you're favoring one extreme over another. So,
Jill, should we run the Romans chapter 8 argument against 2LiTERJay and see how he flounders on it?
Well, the problem is that you don't understand what Christian ideology is. Therefore, small hat ideology and mustache man ideology are, or excuse me, mustache man ideology is good because you don't understand what Christian morals are and what the Bible says you are to do. As far as race is concerned, war does not, racial supremacy is not a reason to go to war against another nation. Never
Yes,
was.
it is.
Never
The
was.
Israelites did it all throughout the New Testament. Jesus, when he returns,
No, they did
is
not.
coming back on a very similar mission.
What was the
Jesus was a nationalist.
What was the
Jesus
purpose of the
was
war?
a supremacist. He came for his people and his people only. But
Okay.
that's a different discussion, and I didn't
What,
come to
what
talk
was
about that.
what was the purpose of the war in the Old Testament?
This is cringy.
What was the purpose of the war? Was it
There
was
there
it
was
on the basis
multiple
of
wars.
race? Was it on the basis of race or their behavior?
It was definitely on the basis of race and the behavior.
Okay, can you show that in scripture?
Not at the moment. I didn't come to debate that or discuss that. That's
All right,
irrelevant.
you won't be able to. Research and return, you won't be able to show that.
No, that's fine. Like the whole Canaanites' land coming into the possession of the
Canaanites were
Israelites
not a
because
different
that was
race.
promised to them. That's
Canaanites,
racialist. That
hold
it
on,
is.
the Canaanites were not a different race. They were all related. All of these people come from the same birth mother. They were all related. They were all cousins. They're still cousins to this day. You have no idea what you're talking about.
That's
So-
irrelevant. You can say the
No,
same
it's
thing.
not
about the
irrelevant. That is to the
Germans.
point. That's to the point we're talking about race. They were all related. Esau and Jacob come from the same birth mother.
That's a Christian mindset, man. Get
No,
out of
it's
here.
not a Christian mindset. They were twins. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Have you
and
read the
God
Old
loves
Testament?
one and hates the other.
Were Jacob and
That's
Esau
irrelevant.
twins? Did they come from the same mother? Yes or no?
Yeah, but
Okay,
their descendants over time divided into different tribes.
but
So
they
I
are
mean,
not. So it's
they
not
would be
racial
different people.
supremacy. They were
Over a
divided
different
over.
time, they'd be
They
a
were
different people.
divided.
They were tribal and they were
divided
nationalistic.
over ideology, not race.
I would
One
disagree on that.
believed, one worshiped Yahweh and only Yahweh. The others worshipped multiple gods, Baal, Ashtoreth, etc., etc. Come on, have you
I
read
mean,
the
well,
Old
if that's the
Testament?
case, then why didn't Jesus die for everybody? He came
You
and
haven't
said he
read the
only
Old
came for the
Testament.
lost people of
You
Israel.
need to go back and
If
read
they
the
were
Old
the same
Testament.
people, why did
You,
he call that Canaanite woman
you
at
need
the
to
well a
you need to go
dog?
back. You
That's
need to
as
go
racist
back.
as it
You
can
need to
get.
go back and read the Old Testament from the
That's fine.
beginning.
But I didn't come to
So you
discuss
can
that,
get.
though. That's
I know
irrelevant.
you didn't. You didn't come prepared to discuss this matter. Go back and read the Old Testament from the beginning and find out what God did in the earth. He separated the people on the basis of not of their racial identity, but on the basis of whether or not they would bow to him instead of Baal. Okay.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
Yeah, go back and read the Old
You got
Testament
anything else regarding
carefully.
World War II?
Carefully. You don't get race
Wait,
from
hold on, Jay. What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Regarding what?
Like the last statement you said when you asked about is this it, and then you said something else.
Well, I said, is this it? Like regarding that, is you got any other questions regarding World War II?
Yeah, like say for instance, like I asked you if you accepted the history about World War One, and you told me you did. So I was just curious. Well, if you do accept the history we're told about World War One, like say on Wikipedia or a history book on our shelf, well, why are you skeptical of it about the Second World War if you accept the history they give about the First World War?
Oh, well, yeah, I got an answer for that. We right now live in a post World War II world. Everything that we have, like politically wise,
Right.
and our whole like framework is based off of stuff that happened in World War II. World War One, I never said is not fake, and no, I'm not saying it's AI. World War One's events are led into World War II. They go hand in hand. It's like yin and yang. The outcome that happened to the Germans, they were sold out by international capitalists and their own kinsmen in their country to the Jays and the communists, and that led to World War II. So
Did
no,
you
I'm
know
not saying
that?
anything, but there's a lot of
I don't
stuff
mean.
that they teach in the textbooks that is left out about World War II. Nobody talks about the Russians and the Bolshevik Revolution. Nobody talks about the Marxists. Nobody talks about like even what the Nazis were doing. Sorry, man, but like, you know,
Did you know that Adolf actually served in the First World War?
yeah, I'm aware of all that. I'm aware of
Okay.
all that.
So don't you think perhaps maybe some of the motive he had that led him towards the path he took might have came from his time in the service during that war?
Yeah, it definitely did. When he was in the hospital, you know, he was hearing all the reports about how they won, but then when he returned, it's like they lost because the country was sold out to foreign entities.
Well, it was the can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
They call
It
it
was
the stab in
it
the
was
back myth, but it's not really a myth.
the Versailles Treaty is what upset him so much. When
Yeah.
Germany lost the war, they had to pay over $33 billion in reparations as part of the treaty, or the peace treaty, the end of the war. And Hitler was upset, basically, and he thought that that was, he took offense to that Germans were basically slaves now, second-class citizens. So
Exactly.
that's why he took up. But hey, though, that's what happens when you lose a war. You pay reparations. You pay for the war. You pay for our damages and your own. So, yeah, but that's why he wrote Mein Kampf, because that was in direct response to that treaty. But this doesn't erase the fact that he was a social Darwinist himself, and he rejected Christ. So, sure, you can
I would
argue
not
maybe
say he
God.
rejected
You,
Christ. There's a lot of like instances where he's talking about Christianity
no,
throughout his book. I've read it, so I mean, like,
well,
you know, you can't
well,
really like describe it as that.
you can mention, well, liberals
There's
mention
probably
Christ.
people in his
Liberals mention,
regime that rejected
well,
Christ. Some of them were
let me
Germanic
finish making
pagans,
my point, if
but
I may.
that's irrelevant.
Liberals mention Christ too in their war against another liberal faction. They can mention that they're Christians as well, but we know that they actually undermine the Christian worldview. They're just using Christianity to get one up on who they want to remove, so they can be in power. So if the socialists and a section of the Democrats, like let's say AOC, take up and start fighting against the old regime of Democrats, we don't say go AOC go. As Christians, we may just now you can argue that God is using then one to wipe out another, or God is using one wicked regime to wipe out a more wicked regime. You can argue that, but as Christians, we don't justify either, because both are opposed to Scripture, and they're probably trying to fight over the power so that they can come get you next, Christian. So I again, I wouldn't try to put any defense from a Christian worldview into any systematic murder of civilians, or that is not backed by biblical principles, which is not backed by biblical principles. It's a rejection therein. If anything, the regime of the mustache man, he violated these things systematically and intentionally, according to the history. And you can argue that the history is wrong or exaggerated, but legally, morally, biblically, he didn't really have a case. You seem to only be able to argue that who he was trying to remove was wicked as well. So that might be true, but I'm not defending either.
Yeah.
But is that preterist I hear? I'm hearing preterist.
I mean, that's fine, Jill. I didn't come to discuss if the guy was a saint, but from everything that I've seen, I see the guy, the mustache man, as leading the most ultimate truth movement at that time. Because if you look at what they did, you look at the books that they published, everything that they were studying, getting the framework of the enemy's position, the evil, uprooting all the Freemasons and the Jays and the Talmud, and establishing a moral society. It may be based off of their own aligned principles.
Well, do that,
That's
but don't do that by starving people intentionally. That's not how the Bible says we are to conduct war. But
well, I mean, there's a war. People are going to starve regardless. If the
you don't
rations
intentionally, you don't starve intentionally. You're just ignoring what I'm saying. You don't do that.
They never starve nobody intentionally.
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, according to the prisoners or some of the survivors, he was. So again, you can argue whether or not these reports are valid or not. But if these reports are true, then there's no way a Christian can defend medical experiments and torture. So
you're taking a lot out of the Christian Zionist playbook. Like if you went over to Israel, you would love when they would spit on you.
Good. That's why I'm not defending either. Exactly my point. They both reject Geneva principles, which are rooted
and to be honest, I mean, you like Donald Trump, and that's like the most ultimate Zionist out right now. With
do I like Donald Trump?
I mean, I really can't take you like serious.
What are his policies? I'm looking at the policies. I'm looking at the mustache man's policies. I'm looking at the Marxist policies, and I'm saying both of them are opposed to biblical policies. What are the policies of Trump that are opposed to biblical policies or biblical ethics? Zero. So to bring up Donald Trump when you're defending the mustache man is quite ironic. But it's quite ironic.
I wish that guy was ruling right now because we wouldn't be having the problems that we're having now. We wouldn't be having them at all. Like what that guy warned about what would happen if he lost, it's currently happening. We're watching it all unfold. And I'm enjoying the ride.
When it comes to the Stein you mentioned, the Epstein you mentioned, Trump was the one who got him put back in jail. So he didn't torture him. He didn't kidnap him and his family to try to erase his leg. He didn't perform medical experiments on him. He called the authorities, which is what the Bible is what expects us to do.
After like partying with the guy with all like the minors.
Hey, Jill, let me ask you a question on that. When Trump's agents, these ICE agents, roll up on people and capture people, and in fact, there's been a couple instances now where like 2 or 3 people have been shot dead in the streets. So would you say they're not bringing any violence upon people?
Let me correct you on something first and foremost.
You're not going to correct me on anything.
Yes, I am. These are not. Watch me. These are not Trump's agents. ICE existed before Trump. Hold on. ICE existed under Obama's regime. True or false?
I'd say that perhaps that is true, but
okay. Real
quick.
Number 2.
Wait, hold on. One second. I don't want to mute you.
Okay. You want to respond to number 1? Go ahead.
Hey,
true.
Hey, Jill, take a chill pill for a second. I'll agree with you. Perhaps the organization existed under another president, but is it true or false that they were not driving around these streets kidnapping people until Trump came into office and ordered them to go do it? That is true.
So Trump is not doing that now. Okay, number 2.
What are you talking about?
That's not happening now.
There's ICE riots going on every other day. You're just
because they're riots. Hold on. Just because they're riots does not mean that Trump is that the rumors you're hearing are actually true. Okay, now number 2. Number 1, you admitted that ICE existed under Obama. Number 2, did Obama use ICE to deport millions of people, more than Trump could ever dream to deport? True or false? In fact, they call Obama the deporter in chief.
No, I'd call that false.
you would say that Obama did not deport more than Trump. Can you Google that right now,
No,
please?
that's true. Obama
He
actually
did
did
not
deport
deport
more
more
people
than
Can
than
you
Trump.
Trump.
Google that right now, please? And we can fact check that right now so I can move on to
So,
part number 3.
just real quick. So Google has the facts, or would
Google
you agree
is,
that there's some things on Google that we can't trust and take with a grain
I'll
of
ask,
salt?
well,
Like
as far
say
I
as
for
got
instance, right?
Grok. I'll
as
ask
far
Chat
as
GPT right now.
as far as you and I are concerned, Google would be a third party that is neutral. Can you Google?
What do you mean? Wait, hold on. What do you
It's a
mean
third
neutral?
party. It's
Because
not me or
like
you.
say
It's
for
not my
instance,
word. It's not
hey
my
Jill,
word versus your word.
hey Jill, muzzle your mouth for a second, my friend. You say neutral as if they're like respectable and they're going to give us a fair result. But let's say for instance, like if I look up the term flat Earth, instantly it will pop up. Well, this has been a debunked theory over the time. So what do you mean giving a neutral response? Well, literally, if you look up some topics like September 11th, for an example, an article will pop up right under it saying, well, it's a fact that these theories about it have been proven wrong, where the flat earth has been scientifically just proven over time. Like, seriously, you could do this right now. So for you to sit there and say they're neutral and
Bro,
unbiased,
can you just
you're
Google,
just
bro?
willingly being deceptive with what you're saying.
Can you just Google so we can move on to the third point? Thank you.
No, I will not.
Okay, so my point is true. The point is true, since you won't Google. All right. So point
No,
number
your
3.
your point's not
Point number
true.
3.
You're
Well, you don't have an
Can I
argument.
chime into that though?
you're
Because I
a
got a
Trump
response to that.
booty
You don't
kisser,
have an
my friend.
argument. Okay, so we'll just
I
say
got
that.
an
We'll
answer
just say
to
that
that. Can I
you don't.
read it?
Well, hold on,
Yeah,
brother.
go ahead.
We'll just say
Go
this.
ahead.
You don't
Right
have an
here.
argument.
Barack Obama
Right.
deported more people
Yeah, I know
overall
he
than
doesn't. He
Donald
doesn't
Trump,
want to Google the
based
facts.
on
That's
the
fine. Don't.
cumulative totals during their respective terms. Obama's administration carried out over 3 million deportations during his 8 years in office, 2009 to 2017, with peak removals exceeding 400,000 in a single year. In contrast, Trump's first term, 2017 to 2021, saw fewer than 932,000 deportations, with a high of about 269,000 in 2019.
Yeah, well, that's
Deport-
for. Don't even give him the facts because he doesn't want the facts. That's fine. So on my second point, ETT, we'll just have to say that you have no evidence to refute me. Okay, you just
On
don't.
what?
You
On what?
don't want to take me. You
Hey,
just don't want to take my word.
chill out for
Hold
a
on, let me
second. On
move
what?
on to
On
my
what?
third point.
Wait. You're not going to move on to the third point because
Okay,
I don't
because you don't
understand
want
what
to
you're.
accept
What?
the facts of
Hey,
the
Joe.
second.
And whether. Hey, listen. Muzzle your mouth for a second when the moderator goes to speak. When the panel host is speaking, you zip your lips. I don't mind you talking on here, as I've let all 5 of you talk on here for the last like 2 hours or whatever. I don't mind you talking, but when I go to speak, you be quiet, and I'll show you the same respect. I was going to say, I don't even know what your second point is because you didn't make that very clear. So before you go on to a third subject, make it clear. And also, I'll say before I close the stream, truth and tellers, if you have anything to say because you have been waiting patiently, after Jill speaks, if you want to chime in on whatever subject, that's your time because our time is running out here tonight. But I want to be fair and give you a chance to add to the discussion because you have been waiting patiently. So I'm going to let Jill speak, say what he needs to say, and then we'll let Truth and Tellers chime in if he has anything, and we'll go from there. Go ahead, Jill. Mike's yours.
All right, so you don't want to accept the second fact. Okay, so that's fine. So, but don't argue against me. You have no argument against me because you don't want to accept what the facts are on record. Fine. All right, so let's move on to the third point. The third point, which refutes your entire argument. Again, the first point you conceded that ICE existed under Obama. Okay, that's the second point you just don't want to even learn about or know about, or you just ignore. You say, oh, we can't trust a third party here, which is Chat GPT or Google. Fine. Okay. Don't ever quote me anything from Google to try to prove any of your points that you want to make in the going forward, since we can't trust Google when it defies your logic or your ideas. Thirdly, the ICE administration under Obama, there were more people who died in custody, in ICE custody, because of abuse than Trump. Okay. Trump just has a few cases where people died, and I believe all of those cases were justified by the agents were justified, and we can have that debate. So you really don't have an
Well,
argument
real quick, I'm not going to try to debate you on that, but just in like a 1 minute summary, what would you say is like 3 reasons why you think that those murders were justified? Could you just give like three quick
are you going to
reasons of why you
respond to
think
the
that?
third point? You dodged the second point by
Well,
saying
I don't think you're saying a lot of. I think you're talking a
you're not
lot of
going to respond.
bullshit, is what you're saying. But I'm giving you a chance to express your opinion because
Okay.
unlike some
Well,
other
I would like a
platforms,
response to my third point.
hey, Joe, I'm going to tell you again. I'm running this stream. When I speak, your mouth goes quiet. I don't want to boot you out of here. I want to let you speak. I give you freedom of speech here. But when I go to speak, you be quiet and listen. And then when you speak, I'll be quiet and listen. Now, I'll say my statement one more time, and I'll throw you back the mic. I said, we're not going to sit here and debate for an hour about if it was justified or not. I simply, out of curiosity, asked if you could give like a 1 minute summary of maybe like 2 or 3 examples of why you believe that the murders were justified by ICE. Go
I'll
ahead.
wait for a response to my third point, and then I'll give you that.
So,
answer.
so
Also,
we'll
can I
just
chime
say
in
that
for
you
one
don't
quick
know.
moment? Can I
You're
ask
done.
a question to you
Yes,
real
sir.
quick?
You can ask the question.
Before you close out, I did have a couple of things that I did want to mention, and like I really didn't get to you know mention
I
any
mean,
of those. 'Cause
I'll
there's
let you.
a
I'll
bunch
let you
of
say.
changes up there.
I'll let you say if you had something, man, but you had an entire like hour and a half to bring up any of these points.
Well, I mean,
So I don't know why
like
you waited to
you've
the
been
end,
going
but I'll
around
give
like
you.
back in circles with me, so I haven't really like been in like the train of thought to even like bring
All
apart
right,
what I
well,
have
yeah,
already
if you
said.
got something, then go ahead and bring it up, man.
Well, I mean, like you're talking about Trump right now, so I mean, like I thought like this was gonna be like me and you up here. I didn't know other people were coming
Okay,
up.
well, hey, well, Jay, real quick, you didn't reach out to me and say let's set up a one-on-one conversation. That was never
No, man, but it was like
discussed. But
implied. You invited me on last
no, no,
time, so
wait, no. Hold on a second. We're not going to do that. I never said it was a one-on-one conversation that the next stream was going to be. I said it was an open panel live stream for people to call in. I said, okay, if you want to call in, we can have a discussion. So here you are. You called in with everybody. We had tried to have an interaction between you and me for like 20, 30 minutes. And we pretty much did that. Maybe Judah chimed in too, but he didn't really add nothing knowledgeable to the conversation. But yeah, man. I mean, hell, if you think there's some stuff we're missing out, perhaps we could set up a one-on-one discussion in the near future, and we can, pick up on
no,
some
I'm
of the
not
points
doing
that.
that. Fuck that.
Oh, so let me understand this. So you don't want to be friends anymore since I like hurt your feelings by disagreeing with you. I mean,
No,
why are you
man.
acting like a
So look,
preschooler, man?
check this. Look, check this.
Yep.
You have been passively aggressively dissing me for like the last few months. I've seen you on a few different panels, and all you have is negative stuff to say about me.
But
But all I did was just want to mention
wait,
a few things before you
wait,
close out the
hang on
stream.
a second.
A
Hang
few
on a
minutes.
second. What you pretend like you act like I'm being like rude and disrespectful. Like what are you talking about? As far as I know, the only thing that I've said when I went on to a Jamie's panel for like 2 minutes, we brought up about Jay, and I said, yeah, he's saying some weird, stuff that I don't really agree with. Not saying I hate the guy, but he's definitely on some weird stuff. Something along the lines. That's what I said about you. So
You
now
said
if you're
that
wait,
and a little bit more
hey,
things.
dude,
I
just
didn't
chill
say
out
you
for a
said
second.
anything rude, but that's why I said passively aggressive dissing me.
What do you mean
It
by
never really
passively
affected me,
aggressive, though?
but until I was
Like,
ablaze because
like Joe,
what we've been going on
explain
lately.
to me what you mean. Explain to me what you mean by that. What am I saying that's passive aggressive? Like, can you define what that term means by the usage you're saying?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've seen you on at least like two or three, four different streams. Oh, Jay's, I would call him a friend. I've known him for like 7, 6 years, but he's going off. He's not a teacher. Whoop de
Yeah.
whoop, and whatnot, and
Okay, but
similar stuff.
hey, Jay, am I wrong by making that statement though?
Not at
Like,
all.
am I
No,
wrong
no.
with saying that? Like seriously, think about
Yeah.
this logically for a
I would say
second.
I would say you're wrong in some aspects. I mean, we may have disagreements. That's fine, but I mean, I don't go around talking about you like that.
I mean, I don't care if you do or not, but as a teacher of truth, I'm going to sit up here and call you out as saying a lie. That doesn't mean I don't consider you to be a friend. I never said that. But what I will say, though, is you can't be teaching people about Christ and also teaching these obvious immoral things. Like, I'm going to call you out. I'll call Perry out, call Nick out, call hell Judah out. All these other guys over the years, and you see me do that. Time after time. Hell, don't call me a liar. Is it true or false that I've even called out Shereg for teaching things false? And he didn't cry like a baby
Yeah, I
over
would
that.
say, yeah, you
We
definitely
accepted
have.
our
Yeah,
disagreements, right?
but see, here's the thing, though, man. Like,
Okay.
whenever I'm of discussion, like whenever my name's brought up, it's always you run to the negative aspects of when I'm not even doing anything. So I mean, there's also that as well. Like, I mean, like when Judah was running around dissing me, like just blindly believing all this. I mean, like, like a lot of people have stuff
What
bad
do you
to say
mean?
about me,
Just
and you
clarify.
agree with it,
Just
but then you
clarify
also
so I
say a lot of
understand. When
passively
you mention
aggressive.
about Judah going around just blindly believing, are you saying he blindly believed it, or I blindly
No,
believe it? What are
I'm
you
saying
talking about?
you. Like, oh yeah, Jay's doing that.
Wait,
Oh yeah.
wait. Hold on a second. What are you saying that I blindly accepted that you're doing? Because some of these guys, like on Discord, say a lot of stupid shit that you're doing, and I say, I don't know about that. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, somebody recently mentioned on the stream, that Jay's worships Odin, and I said, well, I'm not really going to say anything about that because I don't know if that's true or false, so I'm not going to put that on him. I said that like
No, that
two
was a
streams
joke.
ago or
But I
something
was
like that.
talking about Odin, though.
Okay, so I'm saying, like, what are you accusing me of
But that's
saying
not.
that I'm like
I'm just
blindly
saying that,
following
like,
that
from the
people are saying
larger
about
picture
you?
of
But
everything that
I
has
don't
been like
get what
going
you're
on.
saying.
I'm just saying from the larger perspective that I have been witnessing over the last like year and a half. It's never really anything like friendly or like positive. It's just a lot of everybody has bad things to say about me, and it doesn't bother me. But when that's all you hear, eventually there's going to be a response to that.
Okay, but let me understand this though. Like, what bad thing am I saying though, except calling you out as teaching a lie and saying that you shouldn't really be considered as a teacher if you're literally teaching against
Well,
the
I mean,
scripture.
you said more than
Like,
just
I don't
that.
get
But
what I'm
as I said,
saying
it's a lot of
exactly.
the
That's
passive aggressive,
so offensive
insults.
towards you.
It's not
Go ahead.
offensive towards me. It never really bothered me, but I just wanted to mention that as we're like discussing this and the kind of banter and situation that we're having with like the mustache man and whatnot. I just wanted to bring that to the table.
You just wanted to bring what to the table?
The discussion of like all the disses and everything. I just want to
Yeah,
know
but
what you
but
have
but but
against
again,
it.
I'm just trying to understand like what you mean by like what this is. Are you accusing me of putting towards you that's like so touchy and making you so butthurt? I just don't get it. Like, say for
Well, I'm not
instance,
butthurt at
as
all.
far as
I
I
have a
hey,
response to it over a long time of people talking about. You
okay, but
know.
what I'm asking you though is explain to me what I'm saying that's making you so that's upsetting you so much. Like, what so-called disses am I saying? Like, say for instance, are you getting
Well, I
mad
mean,
when
like
let
if you
me give you an example.
go ahead,
Just
go
hear
ahead.
me out. Like, are you getting upset when I say, oh well, Jay is going off on this or that over there, or he shouldn't really be teaching because he's following Adolf? Like what am I saying that you find disrespectful or dissful? That's what I want you to explain.
Oh yeah, that's fine. No, I'm just saying out of everything that I've seen in a general sense, I've seen you in servers, I've seen you in the chats, I've seen you on the streams. It's never really anything positive to say about me. It's always negative. But I mean, it's never outright insults. I know you a little too well for that. It's a lot of passive aggressive like remarks. You won't outright say anything negative,
Okay,
but all
so my
the
friend,
connotations are negative.
let me just shut this down real quick. So, have you said anything that you would say passive aggressive against me, or am I just the one supposedly doing that?
No, I
Let's
have, but I've told you that though. But it's never
well,
really anything full on.
what have you told me?
Well, what are we talking about?
Like say for instance, right? Like I did a video recently talking about the teen myth, and all you can say, the only thing that your puny mind could come up with is, well, maybe we shouldn't talk about this stuff because this author, this book over here has the same last name as somebody in recent news. Like that's like your only rational response to
Well,
the
no, that's a
entire
discussion
subject of
that I wanted to come
conversation.
up here and have with. because that guy that writes books like that, I mean, he's a professor at I think Harvard, but a lot of like his stuff is behind the studies of sexology, and we're talking about the German mustache man up here. These were the kind of teachings that he was uprooting and burning the schools and the books and all their academia down. They got rid of all this. This is all like Jewish infiltration. It's nonsense to believe in. So that was my main discourse, and I wanted to come up here to have a discussion about one of those.
But
I wanted to talk about like the hollow scene, that discussion, and whatnot.
okay, I mean, I think we pretty much had a discussion about this subject. I mean, we could, agree to view it differently, but I think from my perspective, laid out a few reasonable defenses as to why I believe that it happened. And again, I'm not saying that maybe they didn't over
But
exaggerate
we
some
really
things.
didn't cover
Sure, I
anything
can
on
accept
it.
that,
This
but
was
to
just
say
like
that it's like
semantic
not
back to
real
back
at all
stories.
or just didn't happen, that's dumb to believe that. That's just not true.
That's fine, but we really didn't cover anything. It was just like back to back arguments. There wasn't really like any kind of like lenient, discussion. It's just a lot of like
Well, I mean,
interruption and trying to
what do
from
you
like
mean by
relevant
that?
people.
Because in this conversation, it basically unfolds the same way that every other one of your discussions on live stream goes with anybody you talk about. So what are you saying exactly? That this wasn't like a fruitful discussion,
Yeah, no, it
like where
definitely
you're
wasn't
able
a
to
fruitful
like show
discussion.
evidences for your view? Because
Yeah,
I
I
think
have a lot of evidence. I haven't really got to show it yet. I thought this was going to be a one-on-one discussion, but all I did was just get asked about how,
okay,
if I'm Christian, I
once
believe
again,
in
my
this
friend, I'm gonna
murder.
say you never reached out to me for a one-on-one discussion. I never said this live stream was a one-on-one. I reached out to you to see if we could work something out. But never did
Yeah,
you
I said
comment
sure.
back to
Yeah,
me
I
and
was
say let's
assuming
set
that's
up a
what this was.
one-on-one. You didn't do that. Now, again,
No,
I'm
I
open to do
replied
that.
to you.
I don't
I
have a
said
problem
sure.
with having a discussion one-on-one. I don't have a problem with doing that. But I'm just clarifying that nobody asked me to set this live stream here up as a one-on-one discussion with you. You never asked me to do that. And I never on the last stream said, okay, well, come by on Thursday and we'll do a one-on-one discussion. I didn't say that. I said I would do an open panel stream. And if you're around, you're welcome to join. That's what I said.
Well, I
So I
mean,
don't think I'm
no,
doing
but
anybody
you did
wrong.
ask me, and I did reply to you in the DMs. I said sure, yeah, we can do that. Or I said sure, and then you did a stream a few days ago, and you tagged my name in the title. So I've been
Okay,
going off of the assumption that this
okay,
was a
now,
one-on-one
Jay,
discussion.
I don't want to call you a liar, but is it true that I invited you on that live stream to come up and have a discussion, and you said you were at work, and I said, oh, okay, we can do it another time.
Yeah,
Now,
and I would assume this
I
would be
never
that.
said that tonight was that other time. No, you never reached out to me and said, okay, let's do it tonight. None of that happened. You said you were at work the last time. I said, okay, cool. Sometime in the future we can meet up and do the discussion. That's not a problem. But you never reached out to me and said, okay, well, let's tonight to do it. Like that's not how it went. Now again, I'll say it again. I don't have a problem with setting up a live stream where we can have a one-on-one discussion. I'm not running from that. If anyone's running from that, that would be you, not me. Okay, so don't pretend that I am not open to do that. I never said that.
Well,
So
I
I don't
came
get
up
what the
here, so
problem is.
it definitely would not be me running from that. I have like notes. I got a lot of different things that I wanted to present to an argument, but I mean, it's just a lot of people asking me like just like random ass like semantic questions.
But I mean, but
It's
what
just
do
a
you mean by like
nonsense.
random stuff though? Like believe it or not, even a lot of stuff that Mr. Jill said was actually relatively on point about Adolf that he brought out about
I
some of
mean,
the
that guy
historical
follows
points.
Trump. I really can't trust his word at all. These are irrelevant
Okay.
people. They don't matter at all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay. I mean, I mean, you can have that view, man. I'm not gonna fight you on it if you want to view that. Well, I guess, before we get going, I mean, like, tell me a little bit, maybe tell the audience a little bit about like the new, like Aryan Israelite group that you're forming. Like, have you figured that stuff out or what's going on with that?
no, man. I just told you I was working on rough draft logos. I really haven't said anything about a camp. I was just working on a logo. So I mean, that's as far as I got with that.
Okay. But I mean, like, when you come up with that group, are you like planning on like a more so of a Hebrew Israelite perspective, mixed Christian perspective, or like what have you thought about with that, or have you not thought that far ahead about the project?
Well, I mean, I really wouldn't be saying anything that I haven't said already. So, I mean, you know, that's as far as I would say it.
Okay. But yeah, man, I mean, hell, I can go a couple more minutes. Do you have anything you want to bring up, or?
I did, yeah, but I don't know if you'll have enough time for that.
I mean, I can give you like, give you two more subjects if you got some.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Yeah, I wanted to present stuff about the Hollow scene, if you want to call it that. I mean, we're talking about like, oh, they have tours today. I mean, there's a few arguments that I wanted to throw in that. Talking about the most popular one, AUSCHWITZ. There's the whole thing about like the chimney, and there was no chimney previously there. It was built after by the Soviets when they took control of it. The Soviets, the Russians, used the labor camps as gulags like they did in Siberia. So a lot of the land they seized, they took control of, and then they integrated a lot of what, like, the German man had into their own stuff. So I mean, before it was later opened as a museum, the Russians had it for a large number of years. So I just wanted to bring that to the table. And if you go on these tour sites and you go on these chambers, I mean, where these people were supposedly getting gassed, the encapsule that the door that encapsulates these rooms is made of wood, and there's no ventilation at all. So I mean, like, how would that work with a wooden door that would burn down very fast? And then with the barracks of where these people were supposedly getting gas was right next door to each other. So wouldn't you think that if they had this high level chemical gas, Zyklon B, I think that's what it's called, you would have your soldiers sleeping right next door? I mean, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this narrative, and that's the kind of stuff that I wanted to talk about. The Mustache Man had over 150,000 Jayish soldiers. You can look that up on Google, but I don't know if you trust that. Um, from what you said with Jill, but he had over 150,000 Jayish people fighting for him. He had Asians.
Okay.
He even had African colonies with like South
Well, before I
Africans
let
and
you
Sub-Saharan
continue with
Africans
that, because
fighting for him
maybe
in
you threw
uniform.
a diss at me. Maybe that's like what you claim I did. But let me ask on that. So, do you trust everything on Google, or would you agree that we should be skeptical about stuff on Google? Because if you do agree, then I don't know why you'd throw a shot at me. Then, if even you agree that we can't really trust everything on there.
Well, I mean, you got to look into it from the larger perspective. There's a lot of different avenues that you could take with Google. You can use it to get to a website. You can use it to. They even have a built-in AI system now. But I use Brave browser. They got Leo.
Okay.
So I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
use.
all
It's
fine
no
and
different at
dandy,
all.
but I just want you to agree that you'd agree with me that we should be skeptical about not trusting everything on the internet. You'd agree with me with that, right?
Yeah, of course, but within reason, though.
Within reason. What example? Like, if you could give me like two examples of what I'm saying that's not within reason about not trusting Google. Like, what am I blowing out of proportion
Well, I mean, like
about
going
being
back
too
to like what
skeptical
Jill
about?
said, Obama definitely did deport more people than Trump on average, and there definitely was a lot more
Does
casualties under him. And if
okay?
a
Does
Google
Trump still have
statistic is
3 more
pulling that
years
up,
in
I mean,
office?
like,
Does Trump still have 3 more years in office?
he definitely does, yes. But
Okay.
it doesn't matter though. I, like they're
Oh,
making
so
this
so
guy
but
up
let me
to like
understand
be
this
like
though.
the
So
new
so
Hitler,
you trust
or what
Google
they
when it
think
gives you
Hitler is.
the information about the numbers that Obama deported, but you don't trust Google when it says about the casualties of World War II. That part is like unbelievable. Can't trust that. But you do trust what it says about how many immigrants Obama um deported. Like, that's all trustworthy and all, but about the World War II history, you don't trust that though, Right.
Yeah, because there's more sources today that you can easily look at, and it's most recent than like 80 years ago, where like they barely kept track of anything. A lot of what we have today, because we live in a post World War II world, a lot of that is just propaganda that has been ingrained into the society.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, well, what's the other thing you had to say? You said there was like one more thing you had.
I mean, I can go through it. Let me see what I have here. I mean,
What do you think
let me
about
pull
this
this up
guy's
here.
comment here? I'll read it for you.
I
Somebody
wanted to
put up
talk
in
about
response to you.
Edomites and who they were. There's a lot of stuff that I wanted to mention, but apparently this wasn't a one-on-one discussion.
Yeah, yeah, Jay, I'm gonna say it again. I don't know why you keep uh you like you're putting your fingers in your ears, not paying attention. You never reached out to me within the last 2 days and said, "Hey, man, let's do a one-on-one discussion Thursday night." You didn't do that. In the last conversation, well, last stream, when you were in the comment section, I asked you, "Hey, you want to come up here and do a one-on-one discussion?" You said you're at work. I said, "Oh, okay, that's okay. We can do it another time." Now, never in that stream did I say, "Hey, look, I'm going to go live on Thursday for a 101 discussion with Jay." That's not what I said. I said I will be doing an open panel stream on Thursday. That's what I said. Now, I'll say it one more time. I'm not opposed to doing a 101 discussion where I can allow you time to go into these sources. Hell, you can even share your computer screen if you want. I'm not opposed to doing that, man. But don't keep pretending that this was supposed to be a 101 discussion when that was not planned. Like, I don't know why you
Well, I
keep
mean,
going
that's
back to
fine.
that.
I mean, maybe I misread the situation, but we
Yeah, you certainly
previously
did
a few
misread
weeks
it.
ago we agreed that we would do have a discussion,
Okay,
and
now,
I
now, now,
was at
Jay,
work the other night. I
okay,
was not
Jay.
capable of
Hey,
joining.
hey, Jay, real quick. Did you catch what you said? You said like a couple weeks ago we discussed about having a conversation. I agree. I agree. A
Yeah,
couple
like a
weeks ago
week
we
or two
discussed it.
ago.
That's true.
That's
But
not
would
very
you
far
agree
away.
that uh, chill out for a second. Will you agree with me? The last live stream, I invited you up to have a one-on-one conversation, and you had to decline because you're at work. And I said, okay, that's fine. We can do it another time. You didn't set up a date. I didn't set up a date to do that one-on-one discussion. Like, I don't get why this is like so hard to grasp. Again, I don't mind
I
having a
mean, you got to
one-on-one
see it from
discussion
my
with you,
perspective,
but
though.
we have to set up a day and time available for you and me. But that
That's
wasn't
fine.
done.
I wasn't able to make the last stream. You put my name in the title. I was assuming that the next stream you did was the moment that I can come up here. That's. I mean,
Okay, now,
it was implied in like what you
o-
said. You
okay,
said I'm
Jay,
going
I'm gonna
live in
say
a
this
few
to you.
days and
Listen,
join.
hey, bro, just chill out a second. I'm gonna say this to you one more time. Last live stream, I told you I will be doing an open panel live stream for anybody to join on Thursday. If you are available, come up. But nothing in the statement was about a one-on-one discussion in an open panel live stream. Okay. Now, again, I'm not opposed to having a one-on-one conversation with you. I never said that. But you didn't reach out to me and say, let's do the one-on-one Thursday night. I never said to you, let's do the one-on-one Thursday night. I entitled it open panel stream for anybody to come up. I did invite you up, but it wasn't set up to be a one-on-one discussion. Maybe you misunderstood what I
Well, I
said in
mean,
the live
normally
stream.
when you do these open panel streams, you normally only have like one person on here, and then you negate the whole like stream towards a discussion with them. So I thought you would like do the
Okay, but
same towards
but
me.
okay, but Jill, I mean, Jay, but here's what you don't know is guess what? Most of those people who I have the one-on-one discussion with actually message me on my private Gmail that you can see on the screen, and we talk a few days in Gmail and agree on a day and time to come up and do a conversation. You didn't know about that though, but 90% of the people who come up when it's just a one-on-one dialogue between me and them, it's because they contacted me and set up a day and time to come up and have a conversation. Just to clarify that for you. It's a
Yeah,
very
that's fine.
rare.
I understand your
Okay.
logic, but the last stream you did, you put my name in the title, and you said come up the next time you're doing a stream. So I thought you would do the same as you normally do for anybody
Okay,
else. You
now,
know,
Jay,
regardless
I'm
if
gonna
I
say
did not
this.
reach
I'm
out to
gonna
you or
say
not.
this. I'm gonna tell you this. If you had such a problem with with 4 other people being up here, which by the way, all of them were being very polite and respectful, muting their mic and letting me, you, and Judah chime in every couple minutes. They were being respectful, being quiet, letting us talk. If you had a problem throughout the live stream with other people being up here, all you had to do was say, "Hey, ETT, could you drop them so me and you can have a one-on-one?" Like you said, there was no mention of that throughout this entire stream. If you would have mentioned that there was a problem with having 3 other people up here, mics muted, being quiet, letting us talk, then perhaps I would have listened to your request and removed them so that we could have a one-on-one discussion. But not one time did you ask me that. Not even behind
I
stage
just
in
would assume
private
you would
chat.
do
You
that
didn't ask me
regardless.
that. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said that's just something that I would assume you would do regardless. I mean, that's what I would do.
Okay, but what I'm saying, I don't know why you're being so naive here. Well, clearly, on the last live stream, I asked you if you wanted to come up, and you had to decline. That wasn't my fault that you're at work and can't join me on the stream. I said, "Oh, okay, no problem. I'm going to be doing an open panel on such and such day. If you're available, you can stop by." That's what I said. But you didn't say, "Hey, man, let's set up a one-on-one on such and such day." Like, bro, the name
Yeah,
of
but
the
I told you I would
stream is
join
an
you the
open
next time
panel. Do you know what
we
an
did a
open
stream.
panel is?
I told you to go live
Now,
Monday,
real
and I
quick.
would join that.
Okay. Oh man, this is just really bad, man. This is really bad. You know
I
what I'm
mean, that's
saying? Like,
fine. But I did have a response to you in that chat. I told you to go live Monday. I don't work Mondays. You didn't go live Monday. You went live today,
okay,
so I
so
was assuming that
okay,
this was a post going
now,
live
Jay.
Monday.
that- Okay, now Jay, did you reach out to me on a Monday and ask, "Hey, are we going to go live at such and such time today so I can be aware?" I got no message from you at all on Monday. So
Well,
if
I
you
don't.
assumed we
I
were going to
wouldn't
be
assume
live
that I
on
would have
Monday,
to
wouldn't
message
you reach
you
out to me
when I
to
put in the chat.
see
I
if we
told
could
you to
set up
go
the
live
discussion?
Monday, and I can join Monday.
All right, man. I'll offer you this because you're pissing me off now. I'm going to give you an offer. Do you want to in the future have a one-on-one conversation on live stream where I'll allow you to bring up all the information, all the links, your own computer stream? You can share that as well to prove your argument in front of an audience of people. If you want the offer, we can do it. It's
I
all
mean, do
totally your
you have
choice.
hours for that though? I mean, like I've sent you countless documentaries, and you tell me you have over
Okay,
5,000 videos in your playlist. You can't just watch
hey
one
Jay,
documentary in
I'm gonna
pieces.
make this very simple for you. I've seen some of the information you give,
You've seen
but
a speech.
you're stupid if you think I have 12 hours to watch a documentary.
No,
Like,
not at
sorry,
all.
but I
I would
don't have
assume,
12 hours to watch a documentary. If you send me a 15-minute video, I can check that out, no problem.
yeah,
But,
but there's no
90%
time
of
for
us don't have
15-minute
time to watch
video.
a half a day documentary. Like, come on, man.
But
Like, what
nobody's
are you
telling you
talking
to
about?
watch everything all in one. I sent LOP the documentaries. He watched them in increments. I sent them to Judah. He's watched them in the span of a few days, the span of a few weeks. Nobody's telling you to watch them all in one setting. I didn't watch them in all in one setting. Nobody's telling you to do that. But every time
All
I
right,
try to provide you with
so
anything, you
Jay,
say you
let
have
me
over
just make this clear.
5,000
Yeah, hey,
videos in
look,
your
this guy in
playlist.
the comments is right. ETT has a lot of patience. You're right. You see a lot of the stuff I deal with up here throughout the years in these conversations, but that's all
That's
good.
probably a
So
bot. It's probably like Drew or somebody. I mean, like that's a
I mean,
random. They
hell,
don't know.
regardless of who it is, they're saying a fact. So regardless of who it is, they're making a true statement. So Jay, I'm going to give you the offer again. Do you want to in the future do a one-on-one conversation where I'll allow you to come up and share your information and share your computer screen to show the audience what you're saying? I don't have a problem with doing that. Okay? So if you want to do that, I'd gladly set up a live stream with you where we can just have a one-on-one conversation. Sorry it didn't work out last time. I apologize. But if you want to do it again, I don't have a problem with that. So the choice is yours, man.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying that I thought this stream
Okay,
was that.
once again, I understand you're saying that, but I didn't see it that way. So again, I apologize if we maybe had a misunderstanding. But instead of crying about it for an hour, can we just agree to do it another time. Like, I don't get what the problem is. We both had a misunderstanding. So let's just lay it there and pick it up another time. I don't get why this needs to be discussed for 45 minutes. I just don't get
Well,
it.
I'm not trying to discuss it for 45 minutes. All I did was just say one statement. But, you know, it's
Well,
been
you didn't
going on.
just say one statement, but well, whatever, man. But yeah, you got anything to say to the audience listening before
Uh,
we jump out of
no,
here?
not really. I mean, I did, but I mean, I'm not even in that train of thought anymore. That done slipped out the window, like when Jill keeps interrupting. So I mean, like, you know, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, man. You can just message me on Discord. We can see what we can work out there. My own personal Gmail is right here on the screen. You can contact me there as well, and anybody watching can as well if you want to set up a debate or a discussion about whatever subject. And yeah, man, I appreciate you coming up tonight. Even though we don't see eye to eye, I do appreciate you coming up for a conversation, and I'd be gladly willing to have a one-on-one discussion with you in the future. We'll just have to arrange a day and time. All right.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, we definitely could do that.
All right. You have a good night, my friend.
Yep, you too.
All right. Okay. So that's all round the stream up, probably 3 hours here. And I apologize. There are a lot of comments coming through tonight, but it's really difficult to keep track of multiple people up here on panel and read comments and try to get those involved in the discussion at the same time. It's not very easy to do that. Yeah, Troy Taylor actually said a smart thing tonight. He said, we talk about Jay here, is clueless about the evil scientific experiments, torture, and murders the Germans did. Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's likely that this stream's probably going to get me flagged because some people on here like Judah, again, no disrespect, I don't think he's doing it on purpose, but he's not able to muzzle his mouth and watch the words that he said. The dude literally said like 25 words on here that could get the stream flagged. It's like, bro, either speak less or speak slower or just don't talk at all if you can't control your mouth. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not saying the brother's doing it on purpose. I'm not saying that, but you got to watch what you're saying, man. And one more thing about how he's saying, "Oh, I thought it was going to be a one-on-one stream." It's like, bro, you didn't contact me to set that up. Like, sorry, maybe you assumed last time that this stream was going to be a one-on-one discussion, but I didn't say that. It's not in the title of the stream. The name of the stream, well, at least during the live stream itself, it could change afterwards. But it's open panel for all Christians, Muslim, atheists, and preterists or whatever. That's what it is. It's not one-on-one with Jay. It's like, that's not what it is. Now, once again, I'll say the statement again. When he came up here and saw 3 other people on the podcast besides myself, which, by the way, they were all very respectable and muted their mics when me and him were talking. So they allowed me and him to interact in the conversation. They did not join in until they were asked if they wanted to join the discussion. Just want to point that out. But if Jay had an issue with there being multiple people on the stream, all they had to say was, "Hey, man, I thought there was going to be a one-on-one discussion." That I'd say, "Oh, okay, if you want me to remove people, I can do that, no problem." But nobody said that, right? So how the hell am I supposed to read his mind to know that he's upset about that? Like, man, if you had something to say, all you had to do is say, if you wanted me to remove somebody, say, okay, I can put him backstage for a one-on-one. But then again, I want to point out all the people who were up here were very respectable and were being very polite, letting me and him speak without interruption. Well, Judah would chime in every couple of minutes, but besides his interruption, everybody else was being very in order, as they're supposed to do in a podcast, right? So I don't get what the issue is. I just honestly don't get what the issue is. Yeah, you're right. I'm getting frustrated. Who the hell in their right mind could listen to this podcast tonight and not get aggravated at the shit you're hearing? You know what I'm saying? Like who the hell out there, could hear this bullshit and not get pissed off or lose their temper? But I'm being very patient, right? I'm being very patient with my guest on this podcast, right? All four of them? Because guess what? I'm going to just say this for the record. All four people on this podcast said some dumb shit, right? Jay said dumb shit. Judah said dumb shit. Jill said dumb shit. Full Preterist said dumb shit. That doesn't mean Judah's not my friend anymore. Like before we, get all crybaby and whatnot, let's not say that, because I didn't say that, but he said some dumb stuff. I mean, hell, that brother used to believe that hell is actually a place like that people go when they perish. Like, I don't know if y'all remember, but months ago, probably like 7-8 months ago, I had a debate with him about like Luke 16, and it changed his mind about the whole hell concept and whatever. But he used to believe in that, right? And wanted to come up here and debate about that. So we had a discussion, a good conversation, but it did change his mind about the idea. Let me see. So yeah, hey, look, you can all choose who you thought won this debate and conversation. I mean, hey, look, I think I took the victory over all these numbskulls on here, over Jill, over Preterist, Judah. He wasn't really doing a whole lot, but not much. He didn't really add much to the conversation at all. I took the win over everybody on here. You know what I'm saying? I think anybody who has an unbiased perspective watching this conversation clearly can see that. Hey, everyone's welcome to their own opinion and views. That's fine. But, in a discussion of fact and proof, I think my argument held up superior. But hey, y'all can choose who you thought won the discussion. By the way, if anybody made it this far into the live stream, put hashtag yo. We'll give GTF a shout out, because I haven't seen them around here in a little while. So we'll give them a shout out. If anybody made it to this part of the live stream, put hashtag yo in the comment section down below. Jared Genesis said, good stream. I would have joined, but it was too late, and I honestly don't have much to say. Yeah, that's cool, Jared. Again, some people are not built for having conversations on podcasts. Some people are more so a watcher, right? Not everybody is called to join these podcasts and engage in conversations. Some people just watch and learn, and there's nothing at all wrong with that. Just like I'll give an example. Not everybody can be a teacher. Somebody has to be a student, right? Not everybody can be the leader. Somebody has to be the one being led. And that's just what it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Guy said, can believe and question September 11 and the official shape of the world, but not the well, I can't use the word. But it's like, bro, like, again, I don't know if you're like high on something or you're just not being able to grasp what's being said. But I acknowledged and said, okay, well, even if we assume that maybe some numbers are being over exaggerated, that doesn't mean that the story didn't actually happen. Like I don't get why that's like such a crazy thing to say. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, there's a bother is going off. Shit, LOP forgot about that joke. He forgot about that. He said, "Oh, this brother's going off." Nah, man, it's there's a bother is going off, right? There's a bother is going off. Yeah, at least that's a slogan I would add to it. No, novice, nobody deletes your comments, right? If you had half a brain, you'd be able to realize that YouTube removes certain comments because either you use like certain words that they don't like, so they'll delete the comment, or just for any reason they might delete it. Like I'll give an example. 2 days ago, I put up a decently long comment in response to somebody. I come back 4 minutes later to check on it, and it was completely gone. So, numbskull, nobody's deleting your dumb comments. YouTube is either not rendering them or removing it because of a word or two that you used, just to correct you. He said, I spoke highly of you for years to tons of people. Till lately, I don't care what you say about me, but now the box is open with the current contention. You'll definitely have things to say. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, man, Jay, if you have something to say, then why don't you go sit on your couch and do like a 20-minute long video about how like ETT is like some like bad teacher and like leading people in the wrong direction. Like seriously, like you can sit there and talk about all types of dumb stuff for like 15-20 minutes on your couch. Like why, if you have something that's so bad to say about me, why don't you just go do that and upload it to YouTube? And let's see if people agree with you. Am I like some type of like bad person, like spreading such bad things? Or are you the one teaching the truth? Like seriously, that's what I got to say to you, man. If you find such fault with me, well, why don't you go do a 15 or 20-minute video and explain how I'm in such error? Like why can't you do that? I guarantee he won't do it though. Let's see. That's my challenge to you, Jay, if you're listening, right? Prove me wrong. Are you going to stand up and tell your followers how I'm such like a bad and naive person? Like seriously, do a video about it. Go do a video when you get home for like 15-20 minutes and explain people how I'm like teaching such falsehood and how I'm like ignorant and all that mumbo jumbo. Seriously, let's see if your audience agrees with you or if they agree that you're wrong. That's my challenge to you, Jay. That's what I want you to do. And I see you trying to join back up here. I'm not bringing you back up here tonight because we already said our goodbyes. So instead of jumping up here and trying to now whine, why don't you go do a 15-minute video, publicly upload it on your channel, and let's see if I'm right or if you are wrong. Let's see. Let's let the audience decide. That's my challenge to you. Let's see, for everybody watching, let's see if he does it. Is he going to upload a 15-20-minute video exposing me about how I'm like so bad and wrong? Or is he not going to do it because he knows I'm right? That's my challenge to you, my friend. Yeah, I hear you. Hey, we all need the Lord's blessing in these times, my friend. Definitely seeing, all the, the weird shit and nonsense going on out here, man. We all need the Lord's blessing. Jill, I'm not bringing you back up here either, man. The stream is coming to a close. Though I will, in the near future, do another open panel live stream for people to join. Again, I wanted to give Preterist more time. I don't think he got much time tonight. And of course, that's not, on purpose. It's just that's how the lot fell tonight. So hopefully he calls back another time. We can engage with him in discussion of his choice. But yeah, Jay, that's my challenge to you, man. Go do a 15-20-minute video explaining how I'm like so bad and corrupt and let the audience decide. Are they going to agree with you that ETT is like so corrupt and strange and you're right, teaching Adolf and, and all that mumbo jumbo? Like that's my challenge, man. Go do that. You know what I'm saying? Let's let the audience decide who's right. Is Jay right? Is ETT right? Let's let the people decide. Let's let the people decide who is right. But you know what? If I was to take a humble guess, I'm going to assume that most people, most rational people, and honest people are going to side with me. And hell, I could be wrong on that, but I think that's a rational stance to have, at least on the discussion of of tonight's topics. Okay. All right. So let's say this. Maybe the person who was in the back chat tried to join might have been Jill. Maybe it came off my screen wrong. So if that's the case, then I'll retract the statement about him trying to join. Maybe it was Jill. So my apology. But still, my challenge still stands. Go do a 15-20-minute video, publicly upload it on your channel, and explain to your audience how I'm like so wrong with what I'm standing upon and how you're so morally just for what you're standing on. That is my challenge to you, Jay. And again, I'm not saying that Jay's not a friend. I respect Jay as a friend, but he honestly can't be a teacher of Christ at this time. He can't be. Like, again, I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm not trying to personally attack somebody. I'm just making a true factual statement according to the Bible. You can't believe in Christ and believe in Adolf at the same time. I'm sorry, but you can't. That you're teaching a lie. And I apologize if that hurts your feelings, but that's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? And again, if you have something to say about it, well, you're welcome to post a public video explaining why you see differently. Right? That's what I'm challenging you to do. Explain to everybody why you see it differently, why I'm like so corrupt with my reasoning. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So again, I'm not saying that Jay is like some type of like bad, evil dude, but he's certainly teaching something incorrect. And just like everyone else who teaches incorrect, they have a right to be corrected. We saw that with the minor Shireg. We saw that with LOP. We saw that with Rudy. We saw that with Nick. The list can keep going. Literally dozens and dozens upon dozens of people more who've been corrected over the years on bullshit that they stay and believe. And guess what? I'm still friends with a lot of those people to this day, even though we have these clear differences between our beliefs and teachings. Let's see. LOP said, is he going to do it? I don't think so. Yeah, everybody think about that. For people watching, is Jay going to take the challenge and do a 15 or 20-minute video explaining why I'm so wrong and why he's correct? And if he does do it, which I hope he takes my challenge up, because that's what a respectable man would do. He'd stand on what he teaches, just how I do. If anybody does a video about me, you better believe I'm doing a response to that and challenging the person. Better believe that. So let's see if he does it. LOP said, is he going to do it? I don't think so. Hey, Jay, LOP is calling you out, man. Looks like he's calling you out. You got to take that up with him. But we'll see, right? Well, the question remains in the air. LP said to the chat, it's been a while. ETT, we could talk about preterism. Yeah, tonight, LOP, I can't bring anyone else up here because it's getting really late here, so I do have to jump off in a few minutes here. But yeah, man, if you want to hop on another night, I definitely bring you up if you have something to say. That's not at all a problem, but it won't be tonight. But yeah, I plan on doing another live stream with like an open panel very soon. And by the way, so nobody's like left guessing in the dark about what stream is open panel or not, all you got to do is read the name of the panel. If it says open panel, that means you can click the link and come up and join the discussion. Anybody is welcome to do it. All you got to do is look if it says open panel. If it says open panel, that's an open invite for everybody to join in the conversation and have a debate or conversation about whatever you feel. It's that simple. LP, so why do you think Jay's really into the whole Adolf thing? Is it because he lives in California? I mean, I don't know what California would have in connection with Germany. I don't know. Yeah, that's like a mystery to me. I have no idea why he's so invested in that. And again, he literally lied on stream that he's been teaching this or believing in it for 2 years. I mean, hey, look, man, maybe in your heart you believed in this for 2 years, but you have not publicly said that you believe this for 2 years. That's what I'm going to call you out on. Maybe in your heart you've been telling yourself this for 2 years. I'm not going to argue on that. Maybe that's true. But as far as like publicly saying this stuff, you've only been saying this publicly for 2 months. You know, like, let's just agree on that, right? Let's just agree to that fact that you've only publicly been saying this stuff for like 2 months. Maybe in your head you believed it for like, you know, maybe 2 years in your mind, but not publicly talk to anybody. Like, shit, I'll give an example. When I brought you on my stream like 4 months ago, you weren't saying any of this shit, right? So, like, doesn't that prove my point right there? That you weren't publicly saying these things? Like, come on, man. You know, I've been standing on what I teach for over 10 years without changing what I teach and stand upon. So why are all these guys coming up and changing their doctrine like every other week? Like even these Genesis knuckleheads. Well, now, you know, now the elect don't get eternal life in the kingdom. Well, you know what I'm saying? It's like knuckleheads are changing up the shit they believe and teach like every other day at this point. It's dumb. Alfred said, just like you can't believe in Trump and Christ, Trump is a horrible Edomite oppressing Israelites. Yeah, that's true. Trump isn't a man of God. Trump is an evil man, right? Trump is evil. Trump is a oppressor. Oh, and Knucklehead Jill said earlier in the stream, oh, none of you can name any of Trump's policies that are opposed to God's will. Well, Knucklehead, is it true or false that this coming Pride Month, the White House is going to be celebrating Pride, flying a flag on top of it with the Pride? In fact, probably even lighting up the building with the flag symbolism. And by the way, isn't Trump like the chief ruler over Babylon now? Why is he not trying to pass any edicts about rainbow marriage? Doesn't he have full power over that right now? Like, what are you talking about that none of his ethics and legislations are against the Bible? I mean, you know, if you're just saying that, you're a novice. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You're just, you know, a novice lifted up with pride, as the Bible would call you. You know, that's just what it is. Yeah, LOP. Another night, if you want to come up, we can have a discussion. Hell, you can reach out to me on Discord. We can set something up. Or if you just want to call into an open panel, that's not at all a problem. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. LP said, yeah, he's teaching it. It's a much more recent thing. Yeah, exactly. Right, he's right. Trump is evil. That's true. All right, this is your last chance to get any last minute questions and comments up. This is your last chance. I'm just trying to check the comments, make sure I addressed most things. Of course, you know, can't get all of it, of course, but I'll do what I can. I'm just looking over, bear with me. Okay, let's see. See a few things coming in. GTF asked a good question. Say, hey, ETT, what is the feat mixed with iron and clay in the book of Daniel? Well, that's talking about, like, if you read about the whole statue, it just represents like multiple empires that existed throughout human history. So as far as like the feet mixed with iron and clay, most Israelite schools of thought teach that that's like talking about modern day NATO, right? Like the NATO alliance, right, with the Assembly of Nations, right? They seem all strong together, but they have some weaknesses among each other. So that's today basically the view of it, is that the last part of those kingdoms, right, the feet mixed with iron and clay, represents like the NATO and the EU. At least that's what most of the schools of thought about the chapter are today. You know what I find funny? Like Jill is such a deceived, uh, brain rot parrot for Trump that he even had to, just to make sure his message could get across, so it didn't get skipped over in the chat. He had to join the stream real quick to put one up behind stage and said, "Quick fact: no, there's no credible evidence that former President Trump or a Trump White House ever made real plans, to light up the White House in rainbow colors for Pride Month." Okay, well, let me fact check you real quick. Is it true or false that they're going to be flying a pride flag during Pride Month at the White House? Is it true or false that they, more often than not, typically have a pride parade through Washington and literally the streets in front of the White House? Is that true or false? Is Trump going to allow that this year? Is Trump going to allow the Pride members to go parade in Washington in front of the this through the square park, in front of the gates of the White House, and boast and brag about their freedom in America, like Jill's gullible ass? Like, I mean, seriously, you need a reality check, man. You're not living in real life. You're living in a fantasy, is what you're living in. And guess what, Jill? You met your match, right? There's a lot of people on YouTube that you can, trick, put in a trick bag, make look dumb with your naive but precise argument. You're like a serpent, right? You try to trick people up with like certain wordings and shit. But let me tell you something, man. You met your match having a discussion with me. You know why Jill likes to come around my live streams? It's because he likes a good challenger. That's what Jill likes. That's why he goes on Ace's live stream. Aces is a complete knucklehead novice, but he knows a lot of verses off the top of the head. So it's a good challenge for Jill, right? That's why he likes to come over here, is because I'm a good challenger. Unlike a lot of these other peons he talks to on YouTube, I'm really like one of the only guys that can shut him up and put him in his place. That's why he likes to come around my stream, is because I'm one of the only guys who can do that to him. So of course he likes a challenger. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't want to fight these, little puny Christians that all they know is, Galatians 3:28, John 3:16. Ooh, everybody. Like, he don't want to debate that. He wants a more studious opponent, which I am. That's why Joe likes to come around this channel, is because I give him a good challenge. No, Knucklehead, I removed you from the live stream because Jill was crying. I mean, not Jill, Jay was crying about how he wanted it to be a one-on-one discussion. So since it pissed me off, I was like, you know what? Let's just remove these two other dudes on here so we can make it like a one-on-one discussion for like 20 minutes. Maybe that will help him feel better, right? Maybe it will help it feel better if it's only me and him visible on stage, or remove the Jill and Preterist to the backstage for a couple minutes, right? Maybe that might make him happier. So that's why I removed you, Knucklehead. But once again, you take note of this, Jill. I never denied you the opportunity to join my open panels. Like say, for instance, you'll never see a video where ETT says, well, now I ban Jill from ever joining a open panel on my channel. Like, I never said that. Somebody show me a clip of where I said that. Now, sure, time to time I might say, well, we don't have time for dumb people around here. Sure, I say that time to time. But I never come out and say, well, we're just going to ban Jill from ever joining the live stream discussions. Like that's not what I say. Like, come on, man. LP said, okay, I'll contact you maybe if I come up with a topic. Yeah, that's cool, man. You got my Gmail on the screen. Once again, for anybody watching who's new to this channel, if you're watching and you want to contact me, if you have just a question, comment, or want to set up a live conversation or debate, you can contact me at my Gmail, which you can see on the screen underneath me talking. So feel free to reach out if you want. Jill's in the back chat talking about, oh, stop watching CNN, NBS or, CBS News or whatever. It's like, you knucklehead, novice. It's like, you don't realize, well, first of all, I get most of my news from the internet. That's how I find out what's going on around the world. Very rarely do I actually watch any of these like mainstream news sources. Once in a while I'll check it out, but obviously I'm not getting my news from there every other day because there's obvious agendas and narratives being promoted and taught on there from both sides of the aisle. And that's what Jill don't want you to realize is that the news will push both perspectives from the aisle, both the right and the left. Right? Each of these news sources have a agenda behind them. Some are for the right, some are for the left. But Knucklehead Jill will have you just believe, well, they're all trying to disown Trump. It's like, nah, again, you're living in a fantasy. You're not living in real life. But again, Jill, you met your match coming over here, right? Because I'm one of the only dudes on YouTube who can put your mind in a trick box, right? I'm one of the only dudes up here who can stand up and put you down. And you like that. Don't even deny that, Jill. You like a good challenger, which I am, right? I'm a good challenger. I really make you think, right? So that's why you like to come around here, is I'm one of the only dudes that can really fact check you. And it's very clear who wins these debates and conversations up here, man. Notice, Jill or preterists want to, act all wild and get upset and emotional. Well, I'm trying to be relaxed up here. Now, sure, as somebody's pointed out earlier in the comment section, it's, not really at all easy to do seeing this dumb shit being talked about. But, hey, as a leader, right, as a leader and a teacher of truth, that's one of the characteristics we got to work on is being, respectful, a patient, willing to teach the ignorant. Those are things we have to work on. Bear for me a second. Yeah. Yeah, Challenger Deep. Challenger Deep. Which Jill probably doesn't even know what that is, by the way. And if he does, Jill, can you point that out on the map? Right? Like if you have a world map in your room, can you point out where the Challenger Deep is? Do you even know what that is? Or did you skip 7th grade? That's my question for you. How are you doing, Thomas Smith? I don't get what you're asking. The files. I don't know what you're asking. We'll put that dude in timeout. You don't have to repeat a question 3 times. I'll get to it when I see it, my friend. And that's a whole nother thing, man. You know, a lot of these guys are like so distracted by, Epstein files, files. It's like, you know, you ignorant novices, it's like, this is really all it took to distract you imbeciles, is to Congress to just say, well, here's a couple more documents for you people to fight and argue over. It's like, okay, well, couldn't they like literally just fabricate these documents out of thin air and add like anybody's name in the world to these documents? Like, I mean, seriously, like, is that not what they can do? Just fabricate these out of thin air, just add any celebrity's name to it, and all you people lose your mind, you know, can't believe it. Oh, you know, oh, we got to attack and go after these people that are on these files. Like, sure, you know, don't worry about what Trump's up to. Don't worry about the largest land war in 80 years. You know, don't worry about the fact that, you know, people are sending in 500 applications and, you know, getting no responses. You know, everyone's poor. Everybody's damn near homeless out here. You know, all this shit's going on in the world, and all it takes to distract the masses is to give them a couple files that literally are just printed at total random out of the blue. And that's all it took to distract people. Like, I mean, are you serious that this is how dumb people are today? And don't get me wrong, Jill's on that list too. Well, maybe not the files, but he's on the list of dumb people who believe in this stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous. You know, you better believe that Jill and his free times looking into those files, you know, deep and you know, reading over it 3 times to make sure he remembers all the names of all the celebrities on it so he can go comment on their Twitter about how evil they are and whatnot. Better believe that's what he's up to, and millions of other novice sheep. Well, Joe, what do you think about the fact that the people are saying that Mr. Trump is on those files? Well, that's a conspiracy. Well, that's a conspiracy. Oh, Google says Trump was on it. Oh, that can't be true. Oh, they're just lying on that, man. They're lying on that. But everybody else on the files, you know, that's all true. You know, can't question that. I mean, come on, man. You know, are you serious? Like this is all it took to trick you? This is all it took to trick you? Are you serious? I mean, come on, man. You know, I expect a little bit more intelligence from you. Seriously, my friend. It's like, come on, man, wake up. Now, why are people just so dumb today? I just honestly don't get it. All it took to distract you people. You know, don't worry about the fact that NASA's getting $65 million a day of your taxpayer dollars. Don't worry about that they're, you know, stealing billions from us a year for literal garbage and bullshit. But we're all just so distracted by these made-up files of just random celebrities that, again, they can literally just throw any name on there and everybody just believes it, like a bunch of brain-dead children. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really pathetic if this is how dumb the world has came to in 2026. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. People, we need to, quote unquote, evolve beyond this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to be better than this. We need people to start using their brain to think. Shit, people out here believing in evolution, you know, are just, you know, totally dumb. It's like, shit, if anything, people are evolving backwards, not forwards. Jay said, still alive? Well, Jay, did you record that 15 or 20-minute video yet? I bet you didn't, right? Get out of here. But yeah, Jay, reach out to me, man. We can set up a one-on-one conversation. Again, the only one stopping us from doing it is you, my friend. I said all for the record and on the record, I'm willing and open to have that conversation. Let you come up here, share your links, your sources, share your computer screen, all of that. The only one that's, you know, on the fence about the discussion is you. So reach out to me. We can set up a day and time for a one-on-one live discussion. It's all on you at this point, my friend. I already gave my word that I'd do it. It's just all upon you, what you choose to do. You know, and that's just what it is, man. Yeah, hey, look, LOP is calling you out, man. Right? LOP is calling you out. Hey, the people want to see it. The people want that. The people want to see. And Jay, I know you're into those views, so that's going to bring some views, man. But that's going to bring some views that way. You know why? Because people like drama. That's what people are drawn to on here, right? People want that drama. So I know you're into, getting those views up, so shit, I'll help you out that way. Yeah, I think anybody who watches the conversation can see I laid out very reasonable conversations and discussions on the subject. You know what I'm saying? But y'all, it's getting really late, man. So I gotta get out of here. And y'all have a good night.